Welcome back to Industry Night Podcast. And we have Haley here, author of Unfuckwithable. I hope I said that right.
You did. Most people mess that up, but you got it.
Joel taught me the way earlier.
Yeah, he messed it up a while ago. He's like, unfuckwithable. I'm like, are you a Looney Tunes character?
But I got it down pat this time. Yeah. And I'm sure this is going to be a complicated question, what you do, but I'm sure, because there's a lot, but we're excited to hear about it and start with a little introduction. What do you do?
Okay, sweet. Well, first off, thank you, all three of you, for having me and having me here in this incredible studio space. And yeah, I'm just super excited to chat with entrepreneurs, business owners, creatives, and just good people. It's what I live for, and I'm really pumped to be doing that. So what do I do? It's definitely a loaded question for me. I work mostly in self-development, spirituality. So that would be kind of like my genre. So if you were to go and look for my book at Indigo, you would go under self-development, spirituality. In terms of what I do as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I've created a company where we have 3 different pillars that ensure our mission is being executed every single day and within every single thing we offer. So the podcast, the book, one-on-one work that I facilitate, one-on-one work that my team facilitates, retreats, ceremonies, events. Everything that I touch is infused with the pillars of our mission. And the first pillar is being unfuckwithable, which if you haven't read the book, which I think a lot of people have read the book, it is like flying off the shelves, especially here in London. So that Indigo, I keep restocking. But unfuckwithable, it's about being powerful no matter what. It's about being empowered, and not from a egotistical place or a conditional space of I'm powerful if, I'm powerful when, but just like I am a child of the divine and I'm powerful, period. So I'm here to live my best fucking life.
So don't mess with Haley.
So don't fuck with us. No. So it's it's a true empowerment. That's pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 is raising the collective vibration. So individual and collective ascension to without, undercomplicating it, just making the world a better place. I genuinely make sure that in everything that I touch, I'm being an integral, genuine person, and I'm giving my transmission of who I am, which is just joy and light and fun, and making sure that we are creating a ripple effect in everything we touch, from, like I said, every event, every podcast episode, every chapter and word in the book, everything on social media. It's about raising the vibration collectively so we leave this earth better than when we got here. And then the third pillar is human optimization. So this is where my one-on-one work with clients comes in. This is where my retreats and ceremonies that I specifically facilitate come in. And that's human optimization. So I combine my studies in science with my 10 plus years of just personal understanding, education, and research of how to optimize your brain, how to optimize your body, and how to optimize your energy system so that you are operating in your highest human potential, like next level focus, next level success, next level drive, next level receptivity, magnetism, everything that would allow you to be your highest level version. That's my job, to ensure that my clients are operating in that state at all times.
Would you say in your one-on-one work, you're more focused on that third pillar?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So hearing you and what you've described, have you done any work at the corporate level yet, where businesses actually will ask you to kind of come in and speak to like a group of managers to help kind of with that optimization?
Yeah. So the closest thing that I would say to that is I've done work with corporate companies and I've done work with universities. So they're very different types of industries, but I'm working in more of a professional development capacity. So I'm still using my esoteric and grounded modalities. I'm still doing my energy medicine, my neural reprogramming, but to get in the door, they think they're signing up for professional development.
Esoteric. Do you mind defining that?
Esoteric it's a kind of umbrella term for modalities and understandings of things that are not, in day-to-day conversation that most people would understand. It's considered under the umbrella of esoteric if it's something that you'd probably have to Google in terms of energy medicine. So psychedelics can fall under that category. What I do as a direct channel falls under that category. A lot of the somatic work that I do with my clients with their bodies falls under that category.
Like breath work.
Breath work, yeah. Breath work people understand now, but there's different ways of doing breath work that would maybe fall under that.
But to that point, 10 years ago,
Yeah,
breath work would have fallen under esoteric,
Yeah.
right? Because like people didn't, like if you would have said breath work 10 years ago, they would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. You're so right. And
Yeah.
and I use that word not to like position it as, oh, it's higher than. It's more just like, it is esoteric. Not a lot of people understand it. Even as I was like chatting with my partner, he's like, make sure you use like small words. Like, don't use these big words. I'm like, no, I feel like they're going to get it. Like, but so
We will after this episode, that's for sure. We'll learn some things.
it's esoteric, but I also say it's very grounded because I want people to just understand like the simplicity of it, of making yourself feel good and feeling good and operating in your highest state is actually quite simple. And yes, I have big words for it, and not big words that I learned or researched or studied, big words that come through my channel and I go, what is this? And why am I leading a client through this strange body movement that I've never learned? And then I just do it because it's happening in the moment. And then I later chat with someone who's been doing it for way longer than me, or I check on Google and it's like, oh, this is like a real thing. It's like it's been validated.
So I guess the next question is like, how did you get here? Like being young, how did you discover this gift that you have to make people tap into their higher selves? Like what kind of brought you here?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you that full story, but I realized I didn't really fully answer your last question of just like working on the corporate level.
Yeah.
Yes. So I work with different corporations and then in different industries to help in a like manager role or high level role. I'm not necessarily working with everyone at the company, but the people who are making big decisions at a company is my kind of client.
So I want to come back to that, and I don't want to lose sight of your question.
Yeah, I want to answer that question too.
So I want to come back to that after, and just somebody remind me at some point, because there's a potential business opportunity that I want to kind of bring up.
Okay.
But we can kind of go to Matthias's question.
Okay. So how did I get here? Yeah. So I think it would be crazy for me not to explain the family I was born into, because that's, where it all started. But so I'll start there and then I'll kind of explain how this all just sort of happened by the grace of God, by divine intervention, by whatever you may call it. Mm-hmm. So I was born into a family of my mom and dad and my older sister. And when I tell you we were raised, and if you have children and you're watching this, I mean, of course, no one's perfect, but I would definitely infuse this programming into your children's brains. This is what was infused into mine. It was like, you can literally do anything you want to do. You can be anything you want to be. You can have anything you want to have. Like, the world is a playground. The world is here to be enjoyed. Like, you are supported. You are loved. I was literally just raised like that. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean I didn't have conditioning and programming. Doesn't mean I didn't pick up little, misaligned subconscious negative beliefs. Of course I did. No one's perfect. But the majority of my childhood, I was loved. And I wasn't just loved. I was like told how much I was loved. And I was shown how much I was loved. And I was empowered and uplifted, which is why my company's called Uplife Lifestyle Incorporated. I was uplifted to feel like I could do anything and I could have anything and I could live how I wanted to live. And that set me into a tone of, the first, let's say, 20 years of my life. I was extremely high achieving. And we were talking about the personality things earlier. You were saying your disc thing. There's another one that I had done, and the word is like upholder. So I'm like an upholder, where I'm not just a high achiever for other people, upholding other people's standards. Like, I'm high achieving for myself. Like, it feels good to reach new heights and be the best version of myself. And I kind of lived that way my first 20 years, where I was, athlete of the year, and I was the program ambassador of my program. I was Dean's Honor List every year in university. Like, I was genuinely excelling at things. And I did it pretty effortlessly as well. I had like a, this is easy kind of vibe and mindset. So that was kind of my first 20 years. Raised with love, joy, all the things. My dad was a professional athlete and he coached in the Olympics. So I also had a lot of, sports psychology and mindset, and he went to school for kinesiology as well. And I had a lot of that energy coming from him as well to be a high achieving, successful individual. My mom, she was a teacher, and then she started her own company, which is called Renewal Retreat, which is now a total empire. And it's a retreat center that is fully functioning. We do weddings, we do retreats, we do events.
Where is it?
It's in Belgrave.
I know
Used to be in
Belgrave.
Bayfield.
From the boonies though.
It is. It is. But I think you'll all be out there at some point soon, especially with the mobile bar.
Yeah.
So it's a retreat center. Are you all familiar with like that word retreat? Are you kind of like, okay, I could imagine what a retreat
I
is.
feel sure. Yeah. But break it down, because maybe some of the viewers don't. So like,
Let's just assume that some people listening don't know
Some
certain
people might
things.
not know
right?
what a retreat is. So since you brought the whole, the breath work was at one point unknown, now it's not. So a retreat is a space where people come to awaken, people come to heal, people come to ascend into their destiny, into their desires, into their truth. And there's so many different types of retreats that exist. But my parents' retreat, Renewal Retreat, is a space for healing, a space for love, a space for joy. And my mom started Renewal Retreat, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 20 years ago, maybe. So to answer your question, Matthias, like how this all started, I was raised in, my mom runs a retreat center. Like this is kind of, I was brought up in like, oh yeah, people are gathering and breathing together. People are doing yoga. Like
it's not something you learn. Well, it's something you grew up with. So it's like engraved.
It's engraved. Exactly.
It also sounds like there's balance between your dad being a pro athlete, and then your mom also being on this side working a retreat. So like you're getting like two totally different mindsets, but it's like Zen.
But also both heavy on discipline.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Like you have to be disciplined to achieve, that higher place you're wanting to go, right?
Both different relationships with discipline.
But that's what I'm saying. It's it's different, but it's the same, right?
Well, even to like manifest, when we were talking about that word earlier, manifest just means make real. So manifest is that exciting word that is like viral, that just means to make real. To manifest something is just to make it real. So even though my mom's operating in a very spiritual, feminine energy, and my dad's more of a disciplined, masculine energy, they're both manifesting and creating. It takes a certain level of, I'm creating this to create what you've created, right? And to create for the retreat center that my parents have built, to create this space that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people come every year to heal and to connect to nature and connect to themselves. Like, yes, it's, this is such a vibe, but it's also like, there's a lot of work involved in creating that reality. Just as there's a lot of work involved in us, we're just sitting here having a drink, but there was a lot of work involved in us sitting here having this drink, right? So,
And there's going to be a lot of work after too.
For these guys to see it.
bye, I'm leaving. No, just kidding. So there was that. So I was raised into that. Okay. And I'll give you a little context as well who my sister is. So my sister is a songwriter, a poet, an artist of all different types of visual art. She writes music. She sings. Like, she's an artist through and through. We have always just done our thing. Like, we just do what we do. And I do like to share this with the audience and with everyone. Like, I still felt society's conditions, of course, right? I still was like, I need to go to school. Like, I'm, who am I if I don't have a degree, like I still felt that conditioning. So I ended out, I went to college and I went to university. So I have a degree and a diploma. So I went for fitness and health promotion, and I went for clinical kinesiology at Western. So I went to school for 6 years. I'm in that paradigm. I'm in that programming of, you're going to go to school and then you're going to graduate and whatever. And literally tomorrow I have a call with my old college because I'm going to be doing some work there with the student association, with some of the faculty. And I work with Western like twice a year I go to Western and I work with their entrepreneurship program. So
Come back full circle.
it's so full circle and it's so beautiful. And it's not like, oh, you know, you must choose. Are you going to be an entrepreneur and a business owner, or are you going to be in that paradigm of education or whatever? Like, it's all beautiful and you get to create, you know, connection points everywhere. But I do like sharing with the audience that I wasn't just like, okay, I finished high school and now I'm like running retreats. Like, I went to college for 2 years and then I took 2 years off and I started a personal training business. And then I went to university for 4 years. And then I graduated in 2020, which was when the pandemic started. And I was working for Andrea at AndFit, and I was working with her and then starting my own personal training company again through that and seeing that rise. And then it shifted really quickly into lifestyle coaching. It started to feel really limiting just working in the human body, even though I was incredible at it and my clients were getting incredible results. It was feeling a little bit boring and superficial just to help my clients lose weight and tone up. I was like, there's more here. There's so much more. So it went into nutrition consulting and lifestyle coaching. And then that shifted into, oh my gosh, I'm psychic. I'm a channel. Like, I have information coming through for these clients and it's blowing their minds. And I'm a university student and I'm giving information to, you know, my 60-year-old client, and they're like, oh my God, this is life-changing and whatever. And I'm kind of going, okay, this is profound, I suppose. And then it transitions into, okay, I'm going to start, you know, this online business. I started a podcast. I started sharing just online, like, here's some things you can do to support yourself. I would regularly share the podcast, and it catapulted into practice of client work, right? So Monday to Friday, clients. Then it catapulted into, okay, it's getting too much, too busy. I don't want to just work with clients. I want to be like a public figure. I want to speak on larger stages. I want to write a book. I want to be truly building an empire in this to change the entire world. And I can't do that if I'm just one-on-one with clients all day long. Even though that's so powerful and has a huge ripple effect, I need to do events. So then it transitioned into, over the last couple of years, big retreats, ceremonies, collaborations with so many different businesses and venues. And to the point I'm at now, it's everything I do now is based on large outreach. And I still have a client retainer list, and I still have ongoing clients and new clients that still come in, but the focus is less on client work, which is why I've hired someone to work with clients under my company. And it's more, how can I get into bigger rooms and bigger stages to, like I said, my mission to actually change the world, how to empower these people.
So how important to you, or how much of a motivator is financial success?
That was my number one motivator when I started.
Yeah.
Like 100%. And I think...
Doesn't that contradict your pillars?
Go straight to it, eh?
Money is, for me, money is like a life-giving source. It's a source of life. It's how can I live better, right? So when I live better, my partner lives better, our future children live better, my family lives better, my friends live better, I live better. It's life. It's life. Money is life. And there's a whole chapter in my book called New Paradigm Wealth, and it's about the regenerative relationship that we get to have with money. And it's very multifactorial because there's a lot of oppressive systems in the world that, you know, don't empower people. But it started off as that was like my number one thing. It was like, if you asked me, when I remember I was at Western, I was in an entrepreneurship class, and I was like, it's like, what motivates you? And it's like, I want to make lots of money. I want to do whatever the fuck I want. And I want to be extremely successful. And I know we were talking about personality types. There's also human design. I don't know if you guys have heard of human design or not. So I'm a projector, and our alignment theme is success. So we have to feel successful. It's not just about money. It's how do I feel successful in my outfit? How do I feel successful in my fitness? It's a holistic. Mm-hmm. But money was definitely a huge motivator. And it was just easy. I should mention, and you guys will love this as events people, I worked for 10 years in fine dining. So I was like 14. All my friends were working at like retailers, scooping ice cream, and I'm making like big cash every night, like $400 a night.
So how did that happen?
So I was basically, it's actually a fun story. I was in grade 9 and I was like, oh, I want this like Michael Kors purse. I'm going to buy this. Like, I've always loved luxury and beautiful things and expensive taste. And my parents were like, okay, go get a job then. Like, go get a job. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, I can't like work at Tim Hortons. Like, like, ew.
I used to be like that too.
Like, and it was funny. So my sister worked at Tim Hortons and like I had lots of friends and I was just like, I'm not there. Like, I just don't belong there. So there was this really beautiful inn and it's called Ben Miller Inn and it was very close to
I know where that is.
School. Yeah. So
so funny.
Ben Miller Inn.
Yeah, it's a great place.
It was great. So it was better when I was there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember this day. Like, I go in for my interview and we were like on our way and I was wearing something. My mom's just like, I feel like you need to elevate a bit. And I was like, okay. So we turn the car around. I change my outfit. We go back in. I get hired on the spot. I get this job. So from age 14 until I guess I was like 23 or something, still working like on weekends and whatnot, I was working in fine dining and I was making sometimes $1,000 a night, sometimes 200, sometimes 1,000, just in tips, right? You guys know how it is in the industry.
Yeah.
It's a vibe. And I was just like, this is so fun. Money's so easy. And I would be going to these, like, I'd be going to like Langdon Hall when like people are going to, like, I'm young, right? I'm in high school. People are going to, I don't know where they're going, but that's how I was living, right? So I created it for myself. Like, the thing about...
Especially if you have good positive energy too. There's some awful servers out there and I'm like, how are they even surviving in this place? Because it's like...
That's a whole nother topic. It kills me when I go out to eat because even though haven't been a server in many years and I do understand like it is a really hard job for many reasons. But on the other side of the conversation, it's a privilege and a blessing to be a server. So be fucking kind, at least pretend, and do your job, you know? So
Put a smile on.
Come on. But so back to the conversation of manifestation and creation, it was like magic. It was like, I'm bubbly, I'm fun, I'm joyful, and I make all this money. Right. It created that relationship with money that for me, that was like, money is life-giving. This is joyful. This is beautiful. This is a good thing. It's not stressful. This is a good thing. And I carried that mindset into everything that I did. And doesn't mean to say I haven't had financial stress. As I make more money, I have more financial stress, right? It's you still experience the stress of the reality of the world, but money is a pure, loving, meaningless thing that we exchange and share in the world. And until, we're all exchanging and trading hugs for whatever it is we're trading, right? This is the paradigm we're in, and money is real, and we need to do our own work to be empowered by it. So.
I'm glad you answered like that because a lot of people don't even realize that they have trauma with money when you're being raised some people have households where they're like, oh, well, we can't talk about money at the table.
Yeah.
And it's like money, rich people are greedy, or you know what I mean? Just little things that are kind of from some of our parents' generations and not having good relationships with money. Sometimes they pass that on to us. And as you get older, you start to realize, like, wait a minute, money's not evil. If anything, it's a tool that helps you achieve freedom. You know what I mean? And I love how you said it. Like, money is, what was the word you used? There's a word you just used, but it's great.
It's life.
Yeah.
It's life-giving. It's love. It's whatever you make it. I literally have a whole chapter on it. Not that I feel it's not a money book. We don't need to sit here and talk about money, but you're a little bit crazy if you don't include money in your wellness conversation.
So, sorry, before you jump in, just to finish on that point, when you talk about manifestation, some people don't realize that they speak so strongly with their words that they're actually keeping themselves away from the money because of the things they're manifesting. And a lot of people don't realize that, and it could just be someone could just say something and that light switch goes off in your head. And if you start speaking in a different way, it could totally change your fate with money. I mean, that's
if you don't think about how you can get more of it, you're never going to find the opportunities for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you buy a new car, or if you're looking for a specific car and you see it everywhere.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's the same thing. If you're open-minded and you're looking for that specific thing, like opportunity, you'll start to see it in more places.
And the way that the brain works in that is, and this is what I do with my clients, is get their brain primed. So the reticular activating system in your brain, which is controlling what you're inputting and outputting and seeing in your life, in your day to day. If you're starting your day with, I want what's your dream car right now?
Porsche Panamera.
I would love a Porsche. Not Panama. That's too slow. Like a Porsche GT3.
So let's say like a black Porsche, whatever.
Sure.
So I'm manifesting this. I want this. I want this. You see it everywhere because your reticulating activating system within the brain is like creating that program, that paradigm. You're seeing it more. And it's the same thing with anything that you're co-creating. So that's how manifestation works. And it's such a exciting conversation to be had. And there's no millionaire or billionaire in the world who doesn't know of manifestation and doesn't use it. And it is multifactorial because it's, a lot of people say, oh, that's a very privileged conversation to be having, because if you're operating, and these factors are really hitting you in a really hard way, how can you sit there and go, oh, like I'm manifesting, I'm creating? And to that, I would say there's people that seemingly have nothing that feel fulfilled and joyful because they're choosing to be present and they're choosing to experience life here now, and they're choosing to feel wealth in everything that they are already experiencing and surrounding, even if it's just like, and I know for myself, when I was in the hospital a couple weeks ago from my incident, I would just like touch my hand and I was like, this is the best thing in the world. Like, and that type of thing, it's like you can hear about it and you can see it, but until you actually experience that type of wealth of aliveness, you, like you had said, Matthias, you're keeping yourself distant from what's available to you because it's infinite. It is completely infinite.
But I think and we've all heard this saying about, there's all these people that end up attaining this great wealth, but then they're unhappy. Right?
Yes.
So I want to go back to the question I had to you that I asked you about, is money a motivator? And I think you answered it in a roundabout way. And my follow-up question to you was going to be, why is it a motivator? Because it's not the money that's motivating you necessarily. Yeah. It's what the money will enable, right? Yes. It will enable you said, success is a driver as well, right? So it will enable your ability to be more successful because now you have the capacity to put on an event and not feel financial stress for it because you have that, right? So, and I think for different people, money enables different things, right? Mm-hmm. So like for me as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest motivators is for sure financial, but it's because I want to have the freedom to decide when I'm going to work, when I'm not going to work, when I want to spend time with my family, when you know what I mean? So have that flexibility to not say, hey, I have to work 9 to 5 and be, in an office, right? Yeah. So I think that is, that is also important in this conversation, is understanding the why behind financial motivation.
Yeah, I love this more holistic conversation around it. And what I would say is when I started my company, like I said, I worked at Ben Miller Inn, and then I worked for Andrea, but I was an independent contractor. I was basically working for myself, getting my own clients. And then I just have my company. So I've never really worked for anyone else. So I've always been living with that edge of like, I have high standards. I have this lifestyle I want to live. This is just, there's nothing but this for me, period. I've made that decision. I've made that declaration with the universe, with God. That's that. And I'm living with the edge of, I went to university. I was on the Dean's Honor List. Like I could be a doctor. I could have this standard income, and yet I'm choosing this edgy lifestyle for freedom, right? So it took me, like how you were saying, it's been a roundabout answer. It was a roundabout realization to get to the point of like, I thought it was money, and there was many things that were awesome about being young and having money, and buying a brand new Range Rover when I was first year in business, like different things that a lot of people can't do or don't think they can do, I should say, that I just chose. But as I've grown and the years have gone on, and like I said, you do start to make money, you do start to become successful, and you start to have, higher bills and, people that you're paying, and different, people coming into your house doing things, people in your business doing things, like things get higher. And what was once a lot of money is now just like, that's like not even livable anymore because of the elevation. And you just keep coming back to the realization of like, it's the lifestyle, it's the freedom, it's how I want to live. Right. And the vision I had, and I've had this conversation with a lot of people, that they're like, a dream day would be like, I wake up when I want to wake up, I go to a cafe, I work, I get paid, whatever. That was like my dream day. And then it like hit me. I like had to just bang it into my head that one day I was like, I've been doing this for a year. Waking up when I want to, going to yoga, go to the cafe, make however much money I want to make that day. And yet I was always still like, I want more. I want more. I was in that energy of seeking and chasing and controlling and forcing and wanting more in a very aligned industry, right? I'm not working as like working in stocks. Like I'm working in energy medicine and healing. Like I'm still in a really aligned space. And yet it was like, okay, I want more clients. I want bigger events. I want wait lists. I want whatever. And it's like that addiction to more.
It's like, it's the dopamine hit that you're getting too, right?
Totally.
Like social media is bad for this, right? If you're able to go on social media and say, hey, my event's 95% sold, that's a dopamine hit when people are like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then you see that 100%, right? 100%. So, yeah. And we're constantly chasing that high, right? As entrepreneurs, there's like really, really high highs and really low lows as entrepreneurs, right?
You're playing at an edge and you're built different than most people. And like, that's just what it is. Like if you're an entrepreneur, you are built different. And this is why majority of my clients are entrepreneurs, because their brains and their bodies, they need to be primed like professional athletes. And that's why I do what I do, to get their brain in that professional athlete mode of focus and receptivity, right? You can't control, like there is a bigger plan at play.
Let me ask you this question. This is something that I saw popping up a little bit more as a conversation that I didn't see in years past, adult ADHD.
Okay.
And it revolves around this theory that everything is so, you get so inundated with information and with social media that you're so distracted all the time. Yes. There's always something distracting you, and it's very, very difficult to focus on task. And I even, full disclosure, I've found myself like that. So our storyline is actually really, really similar. I'm not going to bore you with mine, but I was super high performing, full ride scholarship academic at Western as well. But then I found like in my later years, like now, I get really easily distracted. And I don't know if it's because I'm doing so much more, or I ask myself the question, is it because of social media and the fact that I feel like I need to be on social media all the time to promote my business, et cetera, right? So I just feel like conflicted in that way. And I'm like, do I have adult ADHD or what's going on here, right? So.
Oh my God. You know what? I absolutely, I don't love the labels that are always thrown around, but what you're speaking to is so real. And the last couple weeks since my incident of the collapse and my soul leaving my body and that whole death and rebirth. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, we don't need to talk about the whole thing today.
We have to.
You gotta listen to my last podcast episode. It's called Collapsing Timelines, literally. But since then, it's like there was life before and then there was life after. And the life before was truly like, I was seeking, I was achieving, my missions were, everything was clear. It was like, I'm changing lives. I would get hundreds of testimonials a month. Like, not exaggerating, of like, you've changed my life. Like every day, messages every day. You've changed my life. You changed my life. And I wasn't feeling personally fulfilled because it's like, I still felt like I hadn't reached the levels that I wanted to reach. So I'm like, okay, all my clients are reaching these levels. I want more. And then it took me literally collapsing onto the floor a month ago it's actually crazy. I noticed on my drive here, it was a month ago to this day that my collapse was. So I love the timing and the alignment. And even how it was raining, I was like, like it's a cleanse. But it's like there was life before and then there's life now. And life before, even when I would catch myself and be like, I'm distracted, I'm focusing on the wrong things, I'm not present, I'm not fully here, even though I was more than the average person by far, as I'm sure you are, and you are, and you are, we're focused on it, we're aware of it. it's like I would check myself often. I'd be like, hey, like getting into gratitude, getting into presence, like in a whole new way. And I was. And then boom, what happened when I woke back up, I kid you not, it was like by the grace of God, was not my choice or decision. I do lots of hypnosis. I do lots of transmission. I do lots of soul traveling. I do lots of parallel reality shifting. I do all that on a daily basis by choice to access those states. This was by the grace of God. This was not Haley's doings. This was like, you're on your ass. You're going to be different now. I was like put into submission. And then I wake up. So life now, the last month, it's like, what am I driven by? I was saying to friends recently, I'm like, I feel like I have no ambition. And I love it. I'm not ambitious anymore and I love it. However, things have kind of changed the last couple of weeks because I'm getting re-excited. I'm getting my energy back. But like, I had a couple of weeks where I was like living like a 90-year-old like Buddhist monk. And I was just like, just thinking about things and like tasting my water differently. And
yeah.
Look, you know the feeling.
I know
like,
what you're talking about.
You know what I mean?
So funny.
I'm like looking, like even just yesterday, like I was just lying out looking at the clouds, like watching the clouds go by. And like these are things that you go, okay, I could imagine doing that. But it's like, I
feel like a lot of people have that experience, but when they're on drugs. Like,
actually two nights
but like you weren't, right?
No, I wasn't. And I totally have been there as well. But like I was realizing a couple of nights ago, I was just like, oh my God, this is like what you feel like when you're on drugs. And that's what the medicine of energy medicine can do for you and access.
It makes you realize what's right in front of you, like the natural, like
yes.
I love going camping and it's like when you're camping, there's nothing around you except for wilderness. And it makes you appreciate the little things, right? Like you're there cooking a meal and it's like just
and it
ground
tastes
and
better.
trees and what? Oh, the food
like
is
the
incredible.
food tastes better.
Yeah, because that's all you're focused on, right? You're not watching TV while you're eating just because you're hungry. You're like focused on what's in front of you, right?
So I had something, I'm going to try and keep it quick. I had something similar happen to me. I was walking downtown. Things weren't going good for me. Somebody comes up to me, he's like, hey, read this book. It should be really great for you. Okay, so I go home. Now, my thing with reading, I have to either read out loud or listen to audiobooks because I just retain the information better. So I decided to get this book on audio. So I started listening to it and I started to grow really like, I liked this book. And
this was just a random stranger on the street?
Yeah, actually it's Dave from NYC Styles. I had never met him before, but then, anyways.
What an angel.
Yeah, and so I started reading the book and I didn't realize that the book, when you read it in paper, it tells you to take breaks, right? When it switches chapters. But because I was consuming it too fast, I wasn't taking the breaks to actually go back and reflect on what I was listening to. And it dove into like manifestation and like ego death and stuff like that. And like, I just remember this day, I'm just sitting in my house and I'm like restless. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? All of a sudden, I can hear the TV upstairs. And I'm like, why am I hearing that? I can also hear the smoke detector, the little tick. It's ticking. I say to my girlfriend at the time, I'm like, hey, what is that? She's like, what's wrong with you? Are you tripping out? And I'm like, no, I don't know. I can hear all these things. I pick up my glass and all of a sudden I could see every like line of the glass, the juice in there, it's sparkling in a certain way. It just really freaked me out. And I just got overwhelmed with how sensitive I was with my environment. So I literally like shut down and I got scared and I never went back to the book, but I do remember.
You should read this. You'll be like.
I do remember though, the next day after I had that experience, I woke up and everything was just quiet and it was calm. It was peaceful. And I just never felt anything like that again.
Have you ever messed around with lucid dreaming?
Oh yeah, of course.
I was big into that before.
What is that?
I literally I read this whole book
I do that every day.
Lucid dreaming, but I like got to the point where I would ask myself questions in my dream and yell it out to like people in my sleep.
Yep.
So my subconscious could answer my questions, and I'd wake up and try to remember what that was so I could like answer these questions.
Yeah.
But it was
100%. And that's brilliant that you're doing that.
It got to the point where I was stuck in my dream. So I would wake up thinking I got out of the dream, and I was like, oh, I'm still dreaming. And then I I didn't realize I was dreaming. I'd go brush my teeth, look in the mirror, and mirrors are never the same in a dream. It's never like you don't see yourself. It's always something weird happening. So I would be like, I'm still dreaming. And then I like wake up in bed, go brush my teeth, wake up, and it was just a loop.
Oh my God.
And it got to the point where I was living with 6 guys. I ran to the living room. I'm like shaking. What's happening to me? They one guy just slapped me across the face. And I'm like, okay, I must be awake. But they're like, you got to stop reading that book, dude.
That is so, and on that topic, as someone who, I'll give you a little preface. So when I collapsed a couple weeks ago, or a month ago, I guess tonight, in the 2 weeks leading up, I was parallel reality shifting a lot more than usual.
Do you mind explaining that?
Give a quick explanation of parallel reality shifting.
Okay. So it's different for everyone. For me, it was looking like at this time, it's been different for me in the ways I've done it. But for me, it was looking like this. I would say a prayer of like, I'm ready for my next level. I'm ready for this next realization. I'm ready for my next manifestation, whatever. I'm ready for my next level. I was declaring that to the universe in a very powerful way, in a very devotional way. And I would then do I do a lot of different breath work where you access different parts of the brain. You do different drishti focuses, which are with your eyeballs. And like you could even do it, you could all do it right now. Like if you just close your eyes and you like roll your eyes back into your head and you spend some time there and breathing. I would do stuff like that, and I would program into my own brain, because this is what I get paid big bucks to do for people. I do it to myself, obviously, right? Yeah. So I program things into my brain of like, in this paradigm, this is what you're doing. In that paradigm, that's what you're doing. This is who you're talking to. This is what's happening. So I was doing that in like a conscious way, right? I was consciously leading myself in that. And then I would have moments where I had many moments in the last couple weeks before my collapse where like I'd be standing somewhere and I would feel like vertigo. I don't know if you guys have ever had vertigo. I've never had vertigo, but this is what the symptoms are of like you feel dizzy and then you kind of have to brace. I would have that, and it's like the world would shake and the world would move, and I would go, oh, I've parallel reality shifted into a new paradigm, and then a new opportunity would just land in my inbox, or something will come through. My assistant will be like, hey, this person's here. We're connected here now. Something would happen, and
when I DM'd her, she had a paradigm shift.
Paradigm shift.
And now we're here.
Bulls and beers in the DMs. What is this? Okay, yes, I love it. So yeah, I was doing things like that, paradigm shifting often. You feel kind of a shake in the world. It's like, feels like it's different. There's also other paradigm shifts that some people get, and I have them too, where you get like bruises that you're like, where is this from? And then you go, okay, I'm sure my soul traveled somewhere.
I'm going to ask you about this because I'm sure you have an opinion, but I want to say it. CERN. Do you know what CERN is?
No.
I know what CERN is. I know what CERN is.
I don't know what it is.
The fucking particle projectors that scientists are trying to recreate, like the Big Bang Theory, and it might create like a black hole, and it might create like an alternate reality. You've never heard of this.
So this is another thing I should have told you guys ahead of time. I don't watch the news. I don't listen to the radio. I don't think anyone does, but I don't do any of that. I don't listen to other people's podcasts. I listen to my own podcast.
Will you listen to our podcast?
I'm going to listen to this one. I'll, to be honest, I'll
it's fair. I respect your honesty.
I will listen to this one.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off though.
No.
This
is what we're here for. We're just chatting, but like, and I don't read books. I've read my book and books in university. Like I don't.
Do you often go back to your book because it's kind of just like...
I do if I'm feeling down. If I feel like, oh, have I even made a difference in the world? Or like, who am I? Or whatever. Like everyone has those moments. Like I think the higher levels you go to and the more edges you play at, like you get those moments more often. And I have to like go back and be like, fuck yeah, I'll read like... If you guys read my book, you'll understand. You'll read like 2 words and you're like, done. I know who the fuck I am, and you like get on that vibe.
Did you voice it too?
I have an audiobook too, yeah, because it just came out in 2023.
Okay.
It just came out last year. But so I don't know of any of these things going on. What I will say, and I want to like, I can't go on any podcast without giving information to help people purify and be better. And this is going to speak to what you said about this, you know, the fear of the black hole and whatever. I don't even know what that means, honestly. I've never read about it or heard of it. I don't know of anything. I don't know about anything. Like Mitch, my partner, he'll say, oh, this and that in the news. I'm like, what? Okay, whatever. Like I'm in my own reality, and I'm influencing hundreds of people, thousands, if you include social media, a week. And I am able to just engage with them in the moment of what's real for them right now. And with all the parallel reality shifting I was doing, and then collapsing into my body and being so viscerally in my body and being in the hospital and being like hooked up to stuff and being like in pain and having the concussion and having all this heart testing and did she have a stroke? Did she have a heart attack? Like everything that the doctors were wondering. And then they eventually say, we can't medically explain what happened. Yada, yada, yada. I was really in my body because you're in that pain body is what they call it. And you're like, whoa. And for me, I'm not someone who spends a lot of time in the density of the earth or in the density of my body. I'm very like high vibrational, and we're meditating now and we're doing this now and we're creating this and we're creating that. And this was a gift for many reasons, my collapse. But one of the reasons was it just like put me back in my body. And I realized like you can soul travel when you're dead, literally. You can lucid dream when you're dead. You can do anything in the energetic and quantum realms when you're dead. What you can't do is like drink this rosé, you know, like you can't like hug someone and like look at human beings with skin and flesh. Like and even just like touch your skin. Like it's like, this is here right now. And I always knew that. And that's what my retreats and my work with clients was always about. But I was often bypassing that because I was like quantum leaping all the time versus being here. And then I wanted to speak to this as well. The ADHD you were saying. I think we all have it because we haven't finished.
We're all like injecting our
we haven't finished a chat yet, but that's fine. So with phones, like I get messages often. I got a message like 6 months ago, really strong message. Do not lie down on your phone. Like don't lie down. You know, people like lie in bed and they're like this on their phone.
I do it all the time. It's probably terrible.
Yeah. So like I got this very strong message about 6 months ago, and I was, you know, telling people who were available to hear it, you know, just like, don't do it. And like, I do it too. Like who doesn't? Like just, you know, whatever. And it got to the point where like, if I would do it, like I would drop my phone on my head, or like, I would be like, fuck. And then I'd throw it. I'd be like, why am I like, you know what I mean? It's like the source intelligence was very clear. Do not do that. Source intelligence is also very clear. Like if you comes through to me and so my clients, let's pretend you guys are my clients. You wouldn't be scrolling on your phone. You wouldn't be scrolling on your phone. You'd go onto your phone. You'd use it as a tool. I'm posting this, right? You're on social media. You're not a consumer. You're a creator. Put it out, leave it. Put it out, leave it. No one's perfect. I'm not perfect. You have to discipline yourself. But like with this ADHD you're speaking of, forget that label. Forget it. Let's come to like, you are a present, powerful individual, and you have, you know, I don't like the word control, but you have control over your energy and your time. And the way you can counteract that, and anyone listening, is like, if you're on your phone, you're like, I'm on my phone. I'm doing a task. I've completed my task. I'm putting my phone away.
That's such a great point. And it's so powerful. And I consider myself to be someone with a good level of discipline.
Yes.
But there are times where I am on my fucking phone scrolling, and I'm having this conversation with myself knowing that like, you're doing nothing productive right now.
But it's also like fear of missing out is a big thing. It's
I
like,
don't know what it is. I know I'm like literally
me,
like, I'm not afraid to say it. And there's some moments where I feel like I'm addicted to my phone, right?
Totally.
Like, and eventually I'll put it down. And the freaky part is, or you ever do this? You close an app out and then you open it up right away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I do. It's and the difference is you're catching yourself.
Yeah.
The forces at B, let's call them the fear that is around the world that people tries to keep people small, whatever. We don't need to get into that whole story because we want to keep it high vibe, but that's all by design, that it's addictive. Mm-hmm. It's all by design. So when everyone goes this way, like the herd of cows, you go the other way, right? You know, you guys all know this. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, but it's the same thing. Like you look at people it just like, it starts to give you the ick. You see people on your phone, on their phones, disconnected from the life that's in front of them. Like for me, it's like when I go on walks with my dog, because I don't have kids yet, right? We had this chat earlier, like I'm a dog mom until I'm a real kid mom, and I can't wait for that day. But it's like I'm walking her. My phone's not coming with me unless I have a scheduled call and I'm like, we're having a call. It's not, I see people do this and I'm like, what are you doing? You're going to walk into the road. Like they're on their phone walking their dog. And I'm sure people do it with strollers, and I'm sure people, whatever.
Or just like if I'm taking a turn and there's someone crossing the road, I'm like, you don't even know if I saw you or not.
It will literally like kill people. Even like texting and driving. Don't get me wrong. I used to text and drive all the time. I'd be just like, oh, do you want music, whatever. And then like the last probably 6 months, it's just, and then especially the last couple weeks since what happened, it's like, whoa, life is a gift. Do not fuck with it.
So the best example that I can think of where this really hit me was I've been with my wife now, I think 16 years this year. And the first year we were together, 2008, we went down to Mexico together. And in 2008, most resorts didn't have Wi-Fi. Like, and if they did, it was in like a very small area and it was sketchy and like it didn't work or whatever. So you basically were going there for 7 days or however long, and you didn't have a phone or any technology, right? And you just experienced whatever you were going to be experiencing there for 7 days. And we went to Panama this year, and now there's Wi-Fi and LTE and everything everywhere. And we were at the resort at the fine dining restaurant within the resort, and I was looking around and everybody was on their fucking phone at dinner with each other on their fucking phone. And I look at Katrina, I was like, do you see this right now? I was like, do you see, like, nobody's like just like enjoying the moment. You're in fucking paradise. It's 30 degrees. You're about to have a beautiful meal. You've got the person who you supposedly love the most in front of you, and you're both on your fucking phones. It's crazy.
It's and it's like literally, it's like it is fucked up. It's crazy, and we just have to like counteract it. Like you have to catch it and be like, I'm not participating in that paradigm. I am in a paradigm of like, for me, everyone has their reason, what motivates them. The last couple weeks, what's been motivating me is like purification of my health and my brain. I'm like, whoa, my brain got wiped. Now I have a fresh brain. Like I want to really program this well. I don't want to have conversations that are redundant and a waste of my time. Yeah. And I used to never want to anyways, but it's everything's more purified and refined. And like, it's like I just catch myself faster. So it's like even just like, oh, I'm going to change a song. It's now just like, let's just see what the universe wants me to listen to. Like it's like everything is just different. And with the phone piece, it's like the best way to counteract that is just we don't participate in it. Don't lie down on your phone. Try not to be on your phone unless you're doing something really fucking powerful and productive with it. And if you are a content creator, create something that's really powerful. Just yesterday I put out a thing and it was like ways to optimize your system. And then the last thing was like, hey, put your phone down and go outside now. And it's like, and I really hope people actually do. I hope they go, this was helpful and beneficial. And I'm not participating in perpetuating this addiction for humans. I want people to now be like, okay, great. Now I'm going outside and I'm going to go on a hike. And when I'm ready to presently absorb information, whether it's self-development, business, whatever, spirituality, I'll do it presently. But I'm not going to participate in the distraction. So like even just one thing I would also say for you too, Joel, and anyone who thinks that maybe they're scattered, which we all are at times in our lives, it's like, and I get asked this question a lot, how do you cleanse your energy when you're working with so many different clients and da-da-da? I made the decision, I programmed the belief just by deciding that I'm a ongoing filtration system. I'm like a Brita on steroids all the time because you're made up of water anyways, right? I'm always purifying. So as I'm sitting with someone and there's stimuli everywhere, right? Like, and it's been really challenging with the concussion to really hone this practice, but it's like, you know, your baby's crying, your wife's talking to you, you've got a bunch of messages here from your business, you've got a bunch of messages here from other work, you've got all these things going on, and you have the addiction of like go scroll TikTok or whatever, as some people would do. It's like just sitting there and being like, I'm purifying, I'm breathing, I'm safe, I'm healthy, just like I'm inhaling, I'm exhaling. Get like on that level of awareness. And then then you start to live in HD, like what you were explaining earlier when you're like, you live in HD.
I was gonna come add something on top of that.
I feel my breathing right now.
Another so
Like,
I was gonna say, do I need to lead you?
breathing.
I'm willing to lead you guys in some breath work if you need it.
But literally the only time that I feel like I have, and this is my own fault, the only time I feel like I have time to be with my own thoughts is when I'm driving. And I make a conscious choice when I'm driving not to have music on and just be there with my thoughts.
So I have a question. Are you in control of your thoughts?
Yeah.
Always?
What do you mean by that though?
Do you control your thoughts?
Like, can I control what I'm thinking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what really interested me in the book was it taught you first of all, it taught you how to understand your thought process. So I'll give you an example. So it said there's Joel here, and then there's Joel's thoughts, or the person that Joel thinks has the thoughts. It teaches you to take a step back.
Let's not talk about my thoughts.
It teaches you to take a step back and try and back up and watch who's this person that gives Joel the thoughts. Observe that person. And it started to help me kind of start to understand, like, well, wait a second. Do I really control my thoughts? Because then if that's the case, then I should be able to keep a positive mind state at all times. So I should be able to take out all the negative thoughts, self-doubt. I shouldn't say sadness, because sadness is something that, right, it comes externally, right? Is that fair to say? Like based off...
Yeah, there's nothing
right?
wrong with sadness.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, but like, you know, I thought that was really interesting because I realized I'm like, I don't think I'm totally in control of my thoughts at all times. And that's something that...
I don't think anybody's totally in control at all times. I think you can make an effort to try to be in control of your thoughts, right? And in, you know, as you explain that, I would say, at least me personally, and that's probably one of the things that I would consider a strength, is that when you catch yourself in a spiral where you're like, oh, woe is me, you're just like, well, wait a minute, no, I can control, you know, these are the things I can't control. And there are things in life you can't control. And like macroeconomic pressures, can't control that. That's happening, you just gotta kind of deal with it and you gotta shift, right? But what you can control is your reaction to those external pressures,
So,
right?
Can I say this too? I'm a very good manifester.
I freaking believe it.
I've never said this before. I said I was gonna work with these guys before I even worked with him. I went on a trip with him.
I love it.
I remember coming back and I said to my partner, I said, I'm gonna work with Paul. And I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but I'm gonna figure out a way to work with him. I bumped into him a little bit later. And he started talking to me, and the thing with him, like he would do the businessy talk, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta work with this guy as well. And I even wanna say I have it in my phone. And
so wait, you two haven't heard this yet?
I don't know if I feel used or honored to be.
But this is.
I'm kidding. I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. But this is something that I know how to do from since I was really young. I remember when I was young, I used to have a PlayStation, and I kept a bunch of pictures of like different cars that I wanted, and I always wanted this car. And then I don't know, I grew up a couple years, I had a great job, and I remember I passed it down to my little brother, and I pulled up to see it, and he was playing the PlayStation. I'm like, oh my God, let me jump on this thing, let me see what's going on. And oh my God, my car was in the gallery. I said to myself, I'm gonna drive this car. And I couldn't believe it. I damn near like fell on my chair. I couldn't believe it.
You like just had the realization there. You're like, oh,
yeah,
shit.
and it was like I didn't realize that I was doing it, but I don't know. It's something that some people are just good at, but
It's like what Haley was saying. It's like you always want more and more and more. So when you get to like the later part, sometimes you don't even realize where you came from.
Yes.
Right? You gotta like
And how much delight that brought you, right? And like I think we as entrepreneurs and business owners, when you get fixated on certain outcomes, as we do, like you kind of lose the magic. And it's like, well, we got into this for the magic. We got into this for the miracles. And that's the biggest gift that's come to me in the last couple of weeks is like, I've been reactivated into miracles. And when I tell you, some things are top secret, can't quite get into them yet, but like the miracles that have landed in the last 4 weeks since this collapse, I'm like, I could have never thought this up or controlled this or forced this or even tried to consciously manifest this.
She's also talking about my DM.
It's the fact that we're sitting right here.
But kudos to you
It's the
for
miracles.
being able to have the conversation. Because me, I was too scared to like sound crazy to people, so I just wouldn't say nothing, and it's just something that I feel, comfortable within myself knowing. But having that conversation,
I think
is
being
something else.
grounded as you become more successful, and remaining self-aware is very difficult for some people. I had this experience not too long ago where, when you move to a neighborhood like this, all my friends from high school and university, we kind of all live in the same neighborhood now. We're all like relatively successful. And we all got together as the couples and stuff, and you're having drinks, and overheard the girls kind of complaining about their cleaner. And the cleaner didn't do a good job. And I was like, girls, do you realize you have a fucking cleaner? Right? Do you know that you're like the 1% of London that can afford to have a fucking cleaner, right? Yeah. Like, maybe just not bitch and moan about it, right? Like
100%. I feel like one of the things that has shifted too is I was outsourcing so much, like in our house, like cleaner, food, everything, and then this all happened, and I was just back into reality, and I was like enjoying cleaning the house, and I was like, gonna give the cleaner a month off. We're gonna like be here. I'm gonna cook. Like and I love food more than anyone. My partner's a private chef, so food is everything to us.
Like, that must be excellent.
It's a vibe. So like food is so important, but I was like disconnecting like from the miracles of life. Like I said, when you're soul traveling because you're now a spirit or a soul or whatever you believe in, who knows, right? We don't know.
What do you believe in? Are you
religious? Well, I have a bit of a.
You're clearly spiritual, but
I'm
are
very
you religious?
spiritual. I'm not religious only because I've never.
But you use the word God quite a bit.
Yeah, that God and we have our own relationship.
But so how do you define God?
God to me, so this is a good chat. So
are you agnostic?
I don't even know what that word means.
So
give me a good definition.
Personally, I'm agnostic.
Okay.
And I'm gonna really boil it down. So basically what it means is you believe in a higher power, could be spirituality, could be, something that's divine, but you also believe that as human beings, we don't have enough knowledge to know what exactly that is. But you do believe there's something more. So, but you don't have any prescribed thought to a certain monotheistic religion, like Judaism, Islam, Western religion or Eastern religion. You kind of take all the good and everything that resonates with you from all the different schools of thought and religions that are out there, and you integrate it into your own basically life philosophy. But you do believe that there is something greater, and something that you don't believe that anybody that's human has the capacity to explain.
Yeah.
With a solid definition and say this is exactly what it is.
Yeah, no. How would we know?
Exactly. That's why.
However, when I did leave my body and I had that out of body experience, I can tell you, like, you do feel loved and light. Like,
so something. You feel
love.
You feel some energy.
But it's not like I saw like a white man with like a cape and was like, hello. And like, but I feel so like I can tell you love a definition and you love that. And I get that. But I can't say that I'm exactly that because I also like have other thoughts, but like that's pretty freaking close to how I feel.
I would say like you're probably pretty close to agnostic if you were to like, and you're probably someone that doesn't like labels in general.
I don't.
Right? So,
so like,
I already pegged you on someone who doesn't like any kind of labels. So like I'm not going to label you an agnostic. So that's not going to be the title.
But you will label me as the D.
Haley, the agnostic.
It's like, yeah. So to answer your questions, like I was not raised with religion. I swear to God, our family was like, love is the religion. Like that we were raised like listening to Bob Marley, and we were raised like my mom would talk about God, of like, God loves you, the universe loves you. Like it was all of it. And then the way that I work with clients is
Were your parents at Woodstock?
Probably.
What is that? Back in the day? Okay,
yeah. Oh, my mom would for sure define herself.
She was a hippie, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, hippie love.
So it's like, I believe in all of it. And when I'm working with a client, I'm able to channel. So if I have a client that's Christian, I'm able to channel Jesus for that client because that energy exists. And I've had face-to-face interaction because I can see and talk with spirits with all of those different types of beings. The feeling I get from God, and because you were saying, I've said God a lot. 2 weeks before I collapsed, I was praying to God. I was like, God, because I felt like I was at a point where I was like, I'm on my knees and I need help. And for some reason, that's who I wanted to go to. It felt like the highest power at the time, not because I've probably been to church like twice for like a funeral and a wedding. Like I don't do religion, but I do my own relationship with source and power. And I went to God for this. And there's many times in the day where I'm just like, universe, angels. And then there's many times when I'm actually literally communicating with a specific angel or a specific god or goddess, and I'm getting that energy. But I was praying to God. I got put on my ass from this incident, and since then I've been like, God.
So, but have you?
But I still talk to all the other beings.
Yeah, but when you say beings and stuff, did you do any kind of like, have you read literature on like
No.
Eastern religions or Western religions or anything like that?
I don't read anything.
Those are the conversations that are tough, yo, because like, I mean, when you start talking about stuff like that, some people are like, feel very strongly about it. Like listening to my mom, sometimes I could be like, fuck, man.
But then to the agnostic point, how do we know? So it's
Exactly.
like, why would, like, so if I was chatting with, what's your mom's religion?
Christian.
So she's speaking of Jesus
Yes.
Christ. So if I was having a conversation with her, I would be like, yes, I'd be feeling it all. I'd be like, this is so true. This is so real. This is so right. Until maybe she said something like, if I said the universe, that she'd be like, no, the universe is bad. I'd be like, is it?
Yeah.
Just how do you, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to be in an energy of openness because that's just what feels true to me. So hearing of, like, when I've been to church since the last, let's say 10 years for like a wedding or something, and I hear of things, I'm like, this is so beautiful and true. And then if I hear anything that doesn't feel true and right in my system, I'm like, no thanks.
So you described exactly what I described. What? Yeah. So.
Okay, I'm an agnostic. Is that what you want to hear?
Yeah.
Haley finally admits.
Haley finally admits.
But what you're saying is absolutely true, right? So like, if you're someone that embraces open-mindedness, by definition, religions are closed-minded, because or at least Western religions, right? By definition, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, they're all based on very, very prescribed ways of thinking and schools of thought. And there's fractions within
Which is
those.
weird, because I was going to say, there's even like
fractions
different...
within those faiths.
Because
but
everyone
they're
wants
all-
to belong to something.
Exactly, but they're all very prescriptive, right?
Yeah.
Whereas there are some Eastern religions that are less prescriptive, right? Like Buddhism or Jainism, for instance, they're less prescriptive, but they're still within like a certain school of thought about how you can reach that like higher level of consciousness, for instance, in Buddhism, right? I know a lot about this stuff because I have a minor in religious studies, and as part of like history, you have to learn about all this stuff too. So, but again, like when I went into learning about this stuff, it wasn't with trying to figure out what it was just because I was like genuinely interested. Yeah. And what I found personally for myself, learning about all these different religions, was they're all really a philosophy around how to live your life in a good and pure way. Yes. And there are different ways to do that and different descriptions of it. And I said, well, why not just take the things from each piece that you feel and resonate with and create your own worldview? Yes. Create your own kind of way to interact with this. And why is that wrong? And in the eyes of other religions, that is wrong. Yeah. You can't do that, right? Because now you're an other. Yeah. Right. And to me, I'm just like, well, that just seems so wrong in and of itself. Right. Yeah. But I'm also not discounting that there is something out there. Right. Yes. That's something bigger.
You're open to it. And this is why I call myself the icon of new paradigm spirituality, because it's like this new paradigm of, we don't have to be like, this is exactly it. I'm in this one mold. It's like, it's all, I liked what you said about the purity, like what feels pure and real and true for you in your life, then focus on that. Cause like I could be out here, like in nature, I'm like out in nature and someone would be like, oh, then I don't know what the word is, but it's like when you think God is in nature, it's like, yeah, I do think that. And I think this, and I think that it's like all of it. Yeah. Anyways, I feel we're done with the chat, but all of it is real, and I channel all of it.
There's also a concept that I heard that just talks about people's souls, and there's some people who are old and they're a relatively new soul. Yes. There's some people that are young, right, but their soul's been around for eons, so maybe they might know a little bit more, or they might be a little bit more in tuned with
I feel like you're an old
life. Yeah, I would say so.
100%. People, I feel like it's like, are you happy though? Like anytime someone tries to like dictate something to you, it's like, are you happy though? Like you just have to like ask them, like, are you happy? And people that are old souls like yourself, you're happy. Like you're just operating from like a unfuckwithable, at peace, happy, like energy. And then it's like, and then if someone's like, oh, this is what it is, you're like, okay, sure, that sounds good. Like you're just like, whatever.
So I do want to ask a couple of questions that are a little bit more kind of business development related. And one of the things that I was interested in based on kind of what you do and your client base is, my assumption is that you have a female heavy client base. What is the actual demographic split of your client base?
It's a good question. And in terms of actual one-on-one clients, it's literally like 90-10. In terms of my community, like if I were to pull up my podcast analytics, I have like 16% male listeners, male defining or whatever listeners. So it's definitely mostly women. And I realize that I've co-created that in the fact that I'm in an industry where it's very spiritual and feminine and that sort of vibe. So they're drawn to me. But the majority of my clients that are women are very masculine typed women, like
Interesting.
CEO, millionaires, lots of money. Like they're very masculine dominant, and they come to me to really balance. So if a man comes in, they're often coming to me to be more in feminine, right? They're very masculine and they need to kind of tone down, rest more.
So of your female client base, how, and maybe you don't know this data, but if you were to guess, how many would be no kids versus with kids?
Majority with kids.
With kids.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Because I feel...
I'll say this.
Yeah.
My higher level clients,
Yeah.
higher paying, longer term, more one-on-one clients with kids. Those coming to events and retreats and ceremonies, one-offs, a bit of both.
Okay.
For sure.
Interesting.
But I love working with like moms. Like I love that energy.
I just feel like your program would be really heavy ask for someone with kids. As someone with a kid, like if you were to say like, go fucking be in your thoughts and like do a parallel universe thing, I'd be like, fuck no. Like I've got a kid tugging on my fucking face right now. Like that's just not happening.
That's exactly why they go to her though.
Well, so the parallel reality shifting is they're doing that with me in session. So like we're working in session. So it's like mom's got a call.
Yeah.
Don't talk to mom for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
We're doing all that work in a session. So what I specialize in is energetic and physical upgrading, neural, somatic, and energetic optimization. So what we do is the client gets the upgrade in the moment. It's a very expedited thing. It's like going for
like going for
surgery.
Like or chiro or a massage session or something.
It's like going for Botox instead of doing the natural method.
Oh,
it's
right.
That instant, okay? But it's very real and natural. So that's why they can get what they need, and they feel like then they're going to mom and they're just momming in such presence and gratitude, and they're fully present there, and then they're running their business and their career. And pretty much all my clients are business owners. I have few clients that are high level professional or executives, but mostly it's entrepreneurs. Right. So yeah, no, it's not like, okay, now you need to spend 10 hours a day like staring at a tree. It's like, which I'm here for that life as well, but like that's not the reality of what's going on. So it's like, here's our hour, and we maybe see each other. Most of my clients are once a week or once every 2 weeks. I have a couple of clients that are once a month. And it's, when I see you, you're getting fully upgraded and optimized to quantum leap to your next level, and you're being upgraded so that your brain is operating from a state of not deviated, hyperstimulated distraction, but your mind's like zen all the time, even though you've got way more tabs open than most people. Right. You're very dialed. So yeah, no, I actually all like my high level clients are all moms. Right. 100%. Yeah.
Interesting. So let's maybe shift the conversation a little bit to events. So you've done a few events now. How many events have you
probably done? Like 70 events.
70 events. Yeah. And you've organized all of them?
Yep, or co-organized. But most of them by myself.
Okay. And what was it kind of maybe at the beginning when you started doing events, was it opportunities that presented themselves and you're like, hey, let's just host this? And then you just found, hey, I've got a natural talent to be in front of people and, you know, convey a message very clearly. So I guess where I'm getting at with my question is, did you do it out of personal satisfaction because it met one of your pillars? Or did you do it because you're like, hey, it's an opportunity to actually gain more financial success?
Both.
And I guess, you know, how did you balance that as you grew it? And what did you find was some pitfalls of kind of growing the event space? And some things that you found were really successful in terms of strategizing in that space?
So the way it all started was I started running retreats, full day retreats. So we own a retreat center, my family. So that made it very easy for me to be like, Mom and Dad, I'm running a retreat at the retreat and I'm not paying. So I'm very blessed in that sense, right? So I started with running retreats and I'd be like, again, you know, the high level achieving at the time, it was just like, now I have a different motto of like, whoever comes is who's meant to be there. But like, I certainly had a mindset of like, it has to be sold out and it has to be this many people. Right. And that served me well for a couple of years and it will still serve me, but I have a different understanding of it now. But basically I was running full day retreats. So I learned from my mom, like overnight retreats, things get a little weird because doesn't mean to say it always is, but my mom said, you know, people come up with weird specifications of their room and their this, and it can change. It kind of breaks a retreat's about being in this vibe. Right. And if the vibe is broken because all of a sudden you're sharing a room with someone, even if it's a really beautiful room in this beautiful cabin, vibe change, it can change someone's experience of a whole transformational weekend or whatever it is, right? So I was like, okay, I'll just do daytime retreats. And I was loving that. So I would run daytime retreats. They'd be between 15 and 20 people. We have a yoga studio on our property as well. So we would be doing work in the yoga studio. There's a yoga deck down on the river. We've got the space for a big table for everyone to eat meals together. I would run all these things. I would get it catered. Some people do the food themselves. I would get it catered, either outsource it or Mitch would do it, my partner, because he's a private chef if he wasn't busy. We'd get it catered and I would be running these events by myself. I hired an intern for the events because I needed help, because I had like, even my very first retreat, I think I had like 18 people and they're paying for like $400 a person that was my price at the beginning. 400 a person. I had 18 people for my very first one. So I hired an intern to help me and she was amazing, like helping people getting their champagne at the end of the day, getting the food out, getting their coffee and tea, whatever, all the things, loot bags, everything. And I would just lead my transmission. So schedule, you know, we're doing this body work and then we're doing energy work and then we're doing breath work and then we're going out in nature and then we're coming back. And I would lead it all. And I did that month after month after month after month, started doing multiple events a month, started doing, let's just do ceremonies. Let's just do transmissions where they're 1 hour and there's just tea. We're not doing lunch. We're not doing snacks. We're not doing loot bags. It's lower ticket, maybe $100. It's an hour, and we're doing this vibe together. Okay? So I was running those, sold out, successful, amazing. Then I would start to have people want to collab with me, yoga studios. I've even collabed with restaurants, like lots of restaurants being like, come into our space. That changes vibes, which was amazing because now I'm accessing their type of network, right? It's doubling my reach.
How did you find your initial clients when you're running the retreats?
Everything started from my podcast and my Instagram.
Is that what you started with when you first started this?
Started with podcast and then started on Instagram. And then I have Facebook. I just got LinkedIn back because I need it for certain professional clients.
So on Instagram, how many followers do you have?
I have like 3,000, almost 4,000.
3,000 or 4,000, which
is not a lot.
Which is not a lot. So that
having high, I always say I have a very devoted, loyal, high-paying following.
Yeah.
They're all real people.
Considering where she's from, though, that's a decent number. Are you from Belgrave?
No, I was born in Toronto, but I grew up like in Goderich, Ontario. I went to GDCI, but I went to college, university. But I just started my Instagram like right when I finished university.
Yeah. What do you post on your Instagram?
Like, oh my God, what am I posting on my Instagram?
Yeah. Just curious, like content-wise.
Content-wise, lots of reels and a lot of reels that are really like motivating. Like if I looked at my phone, what did I post today? I posted one to my high performance facilitation page that's brand new and my personal uplift page. That's my company's page. I posted them on both. And it was all about one thing that you can do one shift you can make that will change everything.
So you're providing value to people who are following.
It's all just value. Yeah. It's all value and I use it for marketing. So if I am running an event or like, if we're going to be talking about our event coming up, I'll be sharing that in reels and posts. Like, it's marketing, it's value. It's not just marketing. It's not just value. Like, I make money through my Instagram. It's like my storefront, and I have a website, and I have many other ways. I go to in-person networking events all the time. And ours is going to be really good that we're doing. But I do these things all the time, but like social media is awesome if you use it
the right way. Yeah. But I think that is one of the keys to success of a good social media profile. It doesn't matter how many followers you have, is are you adding value to those real followers 100%. That are like following you and engaging, and you know, are they actually engaging with your content, right? Because you can have, you know, 100,000 followers, but if you only have 20 people engaging with your posts and your content and like commenting or liking and stuff, then that means that like what you're putting out really isn't resonating with the people that are following, right? So,
and it's, everyone has their own, like, and I certainly had an ego side of me was like, I should have like a million followers. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, I am consistent. Talk of consistency, not because I try to be consistent. I just love creating content. Like, I love it. I'm like inspired all the time. I want to share stuff all the time. Like, it's like breathing for me. It's easy. So I'm like, why don't I have like a million bajillion followers? Like, what the fuck? And I have moments of that. Like, why don't I have more followers? Like, but, and I'm still, God, angels, universe, I'm still here for all the more followers. Thank you. More, please. But I'm very much like, I realize it's like, I'm so grateful for, to me, they're like a community. Like, it's like, and I know that people say that and it's kind of like annoying. And it's like, you know, then people who don't get it, they're kind of like, okay, we're your community, we're your friends. It's like, okay, but like, I'm with these people, we're chatting, like, they're real people. They're my clients, they're my community, they're my members. Like, when I put up, oh, I've got an event coming, I know 20 people, if it's a 20-person event, 20 people are coming from Instagram. Like, it's, or there, and then there's another 10 people like, this date doesn't work. Oh my God, tell me when the next one is. Like, I love them. They're real people, they're human beings. I would never, like, I had someone recently, actually a client, she was like, should I like buy followers? And I was like, is that a thing? And she was like, yes. And I was like, no. I was like, my gut is telling me ick. And she was like, okay, thank you, same. But like, some expert was like, oh yeah, everyone does that. I'm like, not the people I know. So it's,
and you can tell right away when someone's bought followers.
Immediately.
And,
how do you
I
tell?
actually look.
Immediately.
So if you, like, say I DM'd you, right? And you had 80,000 followers.
Okay.
The first thing I would do is go to your posts and see how many likes you had. Because if you have 80,000 followers,
have, like,
law of averages, you'll have a couple hundred at the very least likes on every single post, right? But a lot of times you see like 10, 14, 15 out of 80,000, that means they're bought, right?
And even like when you look through the likes, you start seeing these people, like some of them aren't even in English.
Or just even
and it's
engagement,
creepy.
right? Like the comments. Like, you technically should have some kind of conversation
Exactly.
with people on
Like
there,
you're gonna see 80,000 and then no comments on any of the posts, and like it looks less legit.
But there
right?
also are some people who had like a viral post, and then a bunch of people followed them.
Yeah.
And then they kind of died off, right? So there's like, obviously that's a bit more rare.
The whole
but
viral thing is so interesting because I didn't even, have you guys had a post go viral?
I had
You did.
one.
Yeah, you did.
On YouTube.
Oh, I love it!
It was when I first started, and I think it got over 100,000 views.
That's
And
good.
I didn't know why. It was just like,
it
it was
just
like
was a
it was a
fluke.
video for a friend. He was on his motorcycle, and I just wanted to create like some cool video with it. And it was more, I feel like it's just because a passion like came through, and it was like, just, I had fun with it. There was no pressure. It didn't have to be anything. And I ended up like kind of getting the crazy amount of traction. I was like,
Which
this
is
is wild.
so fun and cool. And like, so I've never personally had a post go viral. I don't think.
What's your definition of viral?
Like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views.
Yeah, like I've had a couple of posts
But everyone's definition.
hit 100,000 views.
See, that's a lot.
Perfect example.
I think
So
that's
you
a lot.
And I got, I think, 1,000 subscribers from that video on YouTube.
That's amazing.
However, none of them watch any of the other videos. It's a motorcycle video, right?
Yeah, so
And then when they go see a wedding, they're like, what the hell is this? And none of them interact. So like, I didn't buy those. It was just one video that, so perfect example.
I
of
would
that
say
situation.
that's viral. That's viral for sure. And you know, who cares whose definition? But the reason I think so one cool thing that happened recently is, so I don't post content going, I hope this goes viral. I post content going, I'm nurturing my people and I can't not. Like, it's literally like breathing. Like, I don't know what people would do and this is just also how I've built what I've built. So it's kind of like, I assume it's part of my formula. I make money, I have clients, I live my life's work, I get paid every day to do what I love. Like, and part of that is if I were to reverse engineer, I post on social media. Like, I'm kind of like, it's part of it. But I hired on a coach, and this took me like a long time to make this decision. But I hired on someone because I wanted to, well, she actually pitched me and was like, can I work for you? Like, I'm obsessed with everything you do. Like, I know I can change people's lives. Like, and I was like, okay, let's get some intensive training going on and make sure you can hold what this means for people. So we do very different things, but she's awesome. Anyways, she had about 300 followers when she started working for me. Like maybe 300, maybe 400 humans following her. Yeah. She's now got way more followers than me. She had a post go viral, and it got like, it's almost at 600,000 views. Oh, wow. Nice. One post go viral. And I was like, to me, I was like, this is a real thing, because I'm like,
you hear about it, but you've never witnessed it.
For years. She starts working for me. She gets this post, and she's unreal at content. She's unreal at supporting her clients. Like, that come through my company. Like, she's amazing. But it was one of those moments that I was like, it just happened too a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, oh, this is a real thing.
It is.
Posts go viral.
Honestly, the posts that get the most for me are like the dumb ones. Like, sometimes.
Give me your example of your viral one. Or send it to me later. I want to see it.
So it's posts where I've remixed something. So it's a funny video, and I'm like, oh, this would actually be good if I like changed the subtitles to like something mobile bar related. Yeah. And like, and then it's like, it's just a funny, and then I'll throw it up, and then it'll get like hundreds of thousands of views. Damn. But like, I don't get followers out of it though. It's just like a lot of eyeballs on it. Cause which is still fine, but like, it's not the kind of like viral I want. Right?
And the conversation too around like, well, what's your motive? What's your goal? Like, for me, it's like, well, if I'm using social media as a marketing tool, it's not just to have a big following. It's I want to share my gifts with the world and have paying high level clients, period. I want them to experience my work. So what I've done with social media has worked really well for me because they're high level human beings. And
for you though, social media should actually be your number one marketing tool versus for us in that if we go viral and we get a bunch of followers from Hawaii,
they might never book.
They're never gonna book
or
our
your
services.
video or
very rarely would they.
I'll fly out there.
Yeah,
I'll go there.
We'll take a trip.
Nobody's gonna be like, bring your fucking mobile horse trailer to Texas, right? No. So, however, for you, they might say, let's book video calls. Yeah. So you have that transferability of your skill set to, if you do go viral, that could actually be big business for you.
100%.
Right? In terms
and
of like
I'm very
what you
available
do, right?
for it.
Yeah.
And I love, like, one of the best things is like, and I'm not an analytics geek, but I do enjoy a good analytics check-in. Mm-hmm. And like, the best thing is like seeing that people in other countries have bought my book. People in India, people in Australia, people in Africa. To see that my podcast is being listened to, and I would say every country. Like, if I look, I'm like, that, I think that's every country. I don't know how many countries there are. I think that's all of them. Like, that to me is like, this is so enriching to me to know that it's global.
So what do you think like pulled people to the podcast and then to the book? Is it like the catchy title?
Well, it's funny you say that.
How'd you come up with the name too? I want to hear that.
Oh, that for me, it was like the name was the name. I was using that word all the time. Do you guys know who Zayn is? He's like a singer.
Yeah.
He has a song called Unfuckwithable.
I knew I was on to something.
And I was like, oh, I hate how he spelled it like that. Like, I remember just looking at it and being like, ew. But like, I loved the song. And I was just like, fuck, and I'd be like singing all the time. And then I would start to talk about it in my content, and I would start to talk about it with clients, and I started to coach on like my own definition of what it means. And like, I'd be like, you're unfuckwithable. And like, I'd just be kind of saying it. And then I'm like, that's what my book's gonna be called. And then the book just like literally wrote itself. I just like channeled it out. Every single chapter is based on like what I've taught in ceremonies, what I've taught with clients, what I've channeled on. Like it's all just like a formula of like what my last 2.5 years have.
Did you have an editor or just what it was?
A friend of mine who was also writing her own book. She's like a friend and a client. She was writing her own book. She edited mine, I edited hers. And then I had like my mom who used to be an English teacher before she started a business, and my sister who's also a published author. Look at it. So I had like close family. And I self-published.
You self-published.
I was like, this is happening. I'm not fucking waiting around. I did entertain like, oh, I'm going to check with Hay House and whatever. And then I was like, the timelines, the manuscript, all their details. I'm like, fuck no.
What goes into self-publishing?
Basically, you have to apply for your own ISBN number.
Which is nothing, right?
Oh my God, the easiest thing. And you have to write it yourself, and then you have to upload it with a printer and on Amazon and onto Indigo yourself. So like you can get rejected by Indigo, but you can't get rejected by Amazon, I don't think. You can get rejected by your ISBN. And I was scared for a minute that mine would be rejected because I don't know where the cameras are in here, but it actually says Unfuckwithable. There's no star. You know how all the swear.
I was actually surprised because I looked on Amazon and it just said the title. I was like, damn.
And like even I have this like, so I have signings all the time. I've got a signing this Saturday at Indigo in London. So if you guys are around, come say hi. Indigo North.
Friday?
Saturday.
11
to 2, come by.
Okay.
But like every Indigo I'm in, they're like, oh, I don't care. We don't care. So like I have this banner that's like 8 feet by 8 feet that just says Unfuckwithable all over it. And I'm just like here, and like kids are walking by.
They probably can't even pronounce it anyway.
Well, they'll say Unfuckwithable too.
So there's people that buy my book because they're like, anything Haley does. Like when I tell you I have like people that are like fans of everything I create, I'm not exaggerating. And I'm not undermining them by calling them fans. They're just literally like, she's speaking truth. I want everything she creates and puts her hands on. So there's all those people that buy my book. Then there's people that are like at Indigo, right? So like on the shelves of small bookstores and at Indigos, people are literally like, I want that book because of the way it looks. It makes people feel powerful. It makes people feel luxurious. It makes people feel like I'm fucking cool. I want this book on my shelf. Or it does the opposite, and I see this every time I do a signing, is like I have them all stacked up, right? And some people either walk by and they're like, oh my God, whoa, I love this book, Unfuckable, and they laugh and they love it and whatever. Or I have people who are like, oh. And they like walk by and I'm like, really? Most, like the people who, and I think was I telling you this, Joel, that oh no, it was someone else, sorry. This was another thing. I was talking about recently, my analytics show me that my clients and everyone who listens to my podcast are between 28 and 35. I didn't say that to you recently, did I? Okay, I said to someone else. So we were chatting about that, and those are the type of people that like buy my book. They're like fans of my work. They're like, I want this, let's go. But the people that are like 70 and 80 years old that walk by an Indigo, 50% of them are like, I love that, good for you. And then the other 50 are like, I'm like, whatever.
It's got a beautiful aesthetic. I love black and gold, clearly.
Yeah.
It's literally perfect match to
I'm going to bring you another copy. This one I cannot leave because it's the exact copy that I read at my book launch event, because I'm not just trying to flex for the show. I'm sold out everywhere. Yeah. So there's like one little straggly copy at like every store, and I'm waiting for a new order to come in. It should come in at the beginning of May. Yeah. So like I would have just brought you guys gifts of like 3 copies, but I literally have this one copy.
So I'm interested in the economics of writing a book. So when you get it printed, obviously there's a cost associated. So
a big cost.
Yeah. So what that obviously drives how you priced your book. Mm-hmm. So what's your ROI on it?
So my book's $44 to buy. Okay, wherever you go. Except for on Amazon. And I will say this, people love to hate on Amazon. Amazon is good to their authors. My ROI is best with Amazon. So when people are like, can I buy your book? I'm like, please just buy it on Amazon and leave a review. But because I actually make the most money on Amazon because there's no initial upfront cost. It's Amazon, it's called KDP, Kindle Direct Printing. Mm-hmm. They print it. So I upload my manuscript. They print it. So
But do they print it in that same way?
So they're slightly different. They don't have the foil. Okay. So my printers are out of just north of Toronto. They do this nice sexy gold foil. Pretty much nowhere does. And they're really expensive. And I like the exact, like it kills me to say, but like I probably make like $9 off my $44 book.
Right.
It's okay though. Because it's not just about that. It's about everything that being a published author.
But you must kill it on like an ebook.
Yes. Ebooks, I make great money, and even on Amazon, because Amazon, they take their publishing fee. I don't even know what their royalties are. I don't know the exact, because every single store is different. Every single online space is different. But I think it's like they take maybe like 45% or 40% or something. And then I get all the rest, but I'm never paying anything. So I just ordered a bunch of more books, right? So every time I ordered more books, like I just spent $5,000 ordering 150.
Now you got to wait for those to sell, right? Like,
And then they sell. And then that's not even a lot of books, because I'm now going to go another route to speak on the economics of it. That is off-site printing that my printer will do. So it still looks exactly like this, but it's going to take like 12 weeks. But I will get like, I will be only paying like $15 a book versus like $24.
right. So you're just doing like volume buys.
Bigger volumes. So yeah, it's like, it's an investment. And like you said, here's the, back to that money topic. Imagine I was like, I can't afford to buy more books. Okay, then there's thousands of people that aren't getting this magic.
Yeah.
You know, their lives aren't changing because I can't afford to print them out. And that's why Amazon's awesome, because there's no upfront charge. Yes, they take their cut, but you're just getting paid. You're just getting profit. And I know some authors that just do Amazon.
Yeah. So how many copies have you sold thus far?
I'd have to look in my document, but I think we're into the thousands. I don't know the specific right now off by heart, but we're well into the thousands.
But like, think about that, right?
It just came out last.
No, that's amazing though.
June.
Like, just think about like just getting your message out to thousands of people, right?
Yeah, that are like investing in a book. Right?
Yeah, exactly, right? I think that's awesome. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped about it, and the people absolutely freaking love it. And it's just like, it's electric. Even when I go back and read it, I'm like, did I write this? Because I'm just like, I'm not always in this mode, you know? So then I look and I'm like, damn.
How long did it take you?
So start to finish, it took me 1 year. I started writing it when we got our puppy. I was like, hey, I'm like homebound, because I'm a very much like, I'm in Toronto, and then I'm traveling here, and then I'm back in Toronto, and then I'm home for I'm all over. I used to be all over. So when we got our puppy, our Dalmatian, I was like, okay, I need to be home with her and like actually grounded at home. So then I was like, I'm going to start writing my book. So that was like June of 2022 that I started writing. By May, well, it was done by March 2023, because you have to finish the book, and then there's a whole many months of like getting it fully edited, getting it uploaded, getting the manuscript and the document ready, and then getting your ISBNs and getting it formatted. There's so many things that like you don't even think. You're just like, you write the book and then it's done. It's like, no. So it took me a year start to finish, but I would say it was years in the making of like, in terms of, I would get ideas and I'd be like, oh, this is going in my book. And I'd write it in my notes on my phone or something. Like, I always knew I was going to write a book. Since I started my podcast, I'm like, I'm writing a book. And then everything just came in. And then like, if I were to read the chapters.
But a podcast is a great base for a book.
Oh my God, yeah.
Have you guys heard of Tim Ferriss?
Yeah.
You know me,
Tool
I
of
haven't heard of
Titans.
anyone.
Yeah, but Tools of Titans is one of them. Have you heard of Tim Ferriss? So Tim Ferriss is a really interesting cat. What he did is he brought on, really similar to what we're doing, but on a bigger scale, people in their fields, it doesn't matter what fields they are, that are at the highest level. So Olympians, the best surgeon in their field, right? Wow. The best person that's tapped into spirituality. He'd just bring these super, super high level performers in all the different fields, and he did it for like 20 years. Wow. He was one of the very, very first podcasts that ever came out. So he wrote a book called Tools of Titans, which is basically looking at the common threads that made these people successful, and kind of sharing that. And
Interesting.
What did he find? What's the thread?
there's a few things for sure. Like there's
Well, he wrote a whole book on it, so.
yeah. There's not just one, but I mean, like for sure, like discipline is like there is a intense level of discipline, right? I don't know if you ever heard the quote from Mike Tyson, do the things you hate, but do them like you love them.
No, I haven't, but I love that.
Yeah, so that's really like what embodies to me discipline, right? Is like when you get up at 4 o'clock and you're like, fuck, I don't want to work out, but you still get your ass to the gym. That's discipline, right? And that's what makes people successful. That's one of the things, right?
It reminds me of Think and Grow Rich, because Think and Grow Rich is kind of like that. And in your description, you mentioned something. I was like, I wonder if she's read it. You said
I've never read it.
infinite intelligence.
Yeah.
Which Think and Grow Rich, I'm sure, was kind of based the same way. So back in the day, the author of Think and Grow Rich went and interviewed a whole bunch of successful people, for like the person that started the steel industry, Carnegie, forgot the first name or whatever, Dale Carnegie. But he's a lot of what he's saying. So like the discipline, and knowing how to access infinite intelligence, right? Which is basically teaching people, again, how to manifest. Also now pairing that too with the education that they've learned and knowing how to put those tools together to kind of bring the picture together. Yeah. So I feel like that's what Tools of Titans is kind of like as well.
Yeah, and I think if it, like, I might be misremembering, but one of the other ones was understanding that you can't do it alone. To like get to you always get to a certain point where you can one man show it.
This is the point that I got to.
Yeah.
And that's what changed everything.
Yeah.
I was doing it all alone up until a couple months ago.
And then, when you start surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded, that are also kind of looking in the same direction as you, and understanding that, hey, everyone can win. Yes. It doesn't just need to be me.
And collaboration, like on a whole. I don't know where this got plugged into my brain, but for some reason I had this, even though the most natural thing for me is people and collaboration, I got this like weird thing programmed into my brain at one point where I was just like, I felt like I was alone all the time. I was like, it's just me and I'm just doing all these things and like no one gets me, and because my work is very new.
But that's just your ego.
Exactly. My ego was like, no one understands what you do and you're too...
You got to read some Sigmund Freud.
It's too...
He's old school as fuck.
To do at a yoga studio, or it's too advanced to do with these people, or whatever. I was getting in this weird ego situation. Yeah. And then that all shifted, and things have really shifted over the last many months into like a return to collaboration. Like I was turning down, and to be honest, during when I was writing my book, I had to, because I had to be so focused and disciplined, because I was like, I'm not going to be one of those people that takes 10 years to write a fucking book. It's like, I'm going to start telling people I'm writing a book and it's going to be out by next summer.
How powerful is that though, when you tell people?
Oh, it's so powerful.
That's like one of my biggest tools is I vocalize it. I say, we're doing this.
Once you put it out there, then
we put it out there.
People hold you accountable, or you don't want to let them down.
And I sometimes do it to myself. I'll throw something on social media with a date.
Yes.
And now I'm like, I put it out there. I have no choice but to meet this deadline. Right?
Yeah. It's out. 100%. And that's exactly what I did with this. And it's like, I'm going to execute this. I'm not going to be one of those people that takes 10 years. Like, this is fucking coming out now. Like, I want to be a best-selling author by age 30. And I was, which is awesome because I turn 30 next month. So it's like, I want this out. Like, let's go. But yeah.
So what's next? Oh. Are you gonna make a movie? What's going?
I definitely want a documentary.
Yeah,
a documentary.
Yeah, like I kind of want
about the retreat.
I want someone to sit in on like a client sessions, because they're really fucking crazy, and it's hard to explain. Even my clients, like they literally say to other people, like, I don't know how to explain what she does. Like, that's the most common thing I hear is, I don't know what just happened.
That's probably the best compliment you get, though, eh?
It is, until you're trying to like market yourself, and you're just like, you gotta just experience it, and like, and that's basically what I say is like, you have to just experience it.
It's challenging because, and don't take this the wrong way, right? I think the layperson, you come across as like hippy dippy, right?
Oh yeah.
And then,
or I come across as like So I come across as a hippie to the layperson, and then to the spiritual person, I come across, they think I'm just like. They don't think I'm spiritual because I care so much about the material world as well.
Right.
Because I care about
business,
beautiful things in the world, right? So they're like, is she really spiritual if she's not like drinking? So
you're almost an imposter on two fronts.
I have been, for sure.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool, right? Because you're a little bit of a renegade, right? Yes. You're kind of like saying, hey, I don't care about the spiritual people, that's not my client, right? And these people are my client. This is my client, even if it's 3,500 of them. This is my client that understands me, and it's going to grow, and I know it's going to grow, and eventually it'll get there, right? Which I do think a documentary would go a long way in explaining it.
That's what I really want. I feel like but I'm just like,
hey, did you know there's a filmmaker in the room right now?
Yeah. Let's do it.
You need to go and just watch Paul's stuff though.
I'm already obsessed with the Instagram post I've seen. Like I was proudly sending it to people today. I was like, to my sister, to Mitch, and to my one friend, I was like, this is the podcast I'm on tonight. If I don't come home, I'm somewhere with these 3 men.
He literally though makes everything feel like a movie, right? Yes. Like when we had our release party and we saw the trailer, I was like, I got so many goosebumps, and I'm like, this feels like a fucking movie. Yeah. And that's exactly what I wanted.
And that's what you need too, right? Like you want to evoke emotion through, like, so people can experience it, right? So. Yeah.
And yours, I want to interview you guys, and I don't even like interviewing.
And I don't even like you. She's...
No, I don't even like interviewing people. But I'm very curious, like, how did you start making films? Because
that's a whole story.
Because you're obviously really fucking good at it.
It's funny. I had this conversation before, but it's like I used to always watch movies thinking about like, wow. Because this is a recent journey for me. I've only been doing this for 4 years.
He's a DJ.
And I was a DJ.
You're a DJ? You're both DJs.
That's how we knew each other. Yeah. So,
are you a DJ?
I am not a creative at all. No creative bone. Yeah. The most creative I get is Instagram posts. That's it.
Hey, you design clothes too. Like this is his design. He designed that.
That's creative.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah. Marketing. Yeah.
Like there has to be an end.
Yeah. But when I used to watch movies, like before, I would always be like, how do they think of these ideas? How do they think of what angle to use and what not? And I was always perplexed by it. And then when you get into it, just kind of like passion fuels your interest, and then you kind of work a muscle, creative muscle.
You just started this full time, and you're like, let's go.
Well, he lost a job in marketing. And bought a drone, started fucking with it while he was off.
He got fired. They said he was terrible.
And developed a passion for filmmaking or like videography.
Oh, we'll be working together for sure.
Yeah. It was COVID. Just he didn't get fired.
Got laid off. They had
laid off. Yeah.
No work for me.
That's
really cool. No, I want to see more of your stuff for sure. And so that's what I think is next, is like documentary vibes, and also just enjoying life. Like I realized it really hit me literally with my collapse a couple of weeks ago. Like I haven't taken a vacation. Yes, I've been on many trips.
Did I reach out to you before the collapse or after the collapse?
Before. Oh. Yeah.
Do you think it's...
So it wasn't you?
No, it wasn't me.
No, you reached out to me before.
Was it because you just spent so much time like charging everyone's battery that you kind of...
Yours went
found out. You hit your limit?
100%. Like that's definitely a big part of it. I basically believe I had been whispered to by the universe. You know, you get those little messages for years, probably 2 years of like, maybe even more actually. Because even when I was in university and even when I was a personal trainer and before I even started what I do, I was always going hard. Like I was like, we're going hard. We're doing this. And we're doing it well, and we're going all in. And I had that all in energy, and I honestly am like an energizer bunny. Like I'm just like vibrating with energy all the time. And I also am someone who needs like crazy amount of alone time and crazy amount of like regeneration time.
So how long do you sleep every night?
I sleep 11 hours a night.
Damn.
Ooh. Yeah. Sleep is important.
11 hours. So tonight, we'll actually have another podcast interview at 10 a.m. tomorrow. But if I didn't, I would be sleeping until 10. But I will have to wake up at 8:30.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's okay. I'm to bed late.
A lot of high performers though don't play about their sleep. Like
I don't fuck around with it. Yeah. I sleep. Like I sleep, and then in the afternoons, like I had a lot going on today, and then I was just like, my dad was visiting actually. He was helping me out with some stuff in our backyard, and then we had lunch together, and I was like, okay, like you gotta go. Like I'm going to like I need to lie down now. Like I'm very serious about my rest because it's like the only time I get to just fully receive. But yeah, I basically needed to, honestly, just everyone listen to the podcast. The last podcast I did, I really needed to just go inward in a different way. I'd been receiving whispers for years. And because I do so much esoteric traveling and hypnosis and meditation, it's like all those messages were there. Slow down, do less, do less. And often a lay person, I hate to use that word, but that's what just to make it easy, would hear a hypnotist be like, you need to rest. And they'd be like, a hypnotist told me I need to rest. I'm resting. Where I hypnotize people for a living. I hypnotize myself every day. So it was just kind of this thing I took for granted. I was hearing the messages, but I wasn't taking it serious. I had to be like fucking put on the ground, which is what literally happened. I just collapsed, no knowing as to why, smashed my head on the tile floor in our kitchen. I was like this. Mitch thought I was dead. It was traumatic. It was horrible. I was like lying there with my eyes open. It was like a full death. And then I just came back and I was like, smiling, and he's like, what the fuck are you? And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, you're on the floor. And I'm like, what? Like, it was nuts. But I needed that. And then to follow up with hospital visits. And even just last week, I had to go back to the hospital a couple times because they're still, medically, they're like, what the fuck happened to this girl? Where spiritually, I'm like, I know what happened. But like, that's not enough for them. And I totally respect that and appreciate the whole system's been supporting me actually in this really nicely. But yeah. So
I have to ask you about hypnotism.
Okay.
So do you believe in those? Is that a thing in those videos you see of the guys that like go up to people and is like, I'm going to hypnotize you, and they go, and then they're like, and they get like hypnotized?
That's not what I do.
No, I know. But do you think that's like legit?
I've never even thought about it. That's so different than how I hypnotize.
But it's still technically
But I think that
right?
it probably is real.
Yeah.
But I'm also sure there's probably a bunch of fake fucking, you know, like whatever. But yeah.
It's hard to tell what's real and what's not anymore.
But hypnotism is so real and it's so easy. I hypnotize people all the time.
So walk me through what that would look like. Like if you were to like
if I were to hypnotize you,
yeah.
Okay, so I'd first off just be like, make sure you're consenting to going into that state, and we'd do that, and then I'd be like, all right, let's go, and then I'd have you close your eyes, I'd have you start breathing in a really, I do one of the gifts that I have, one of the many ones, is I feel what the client's feeling in their body. So we get into congruence, we get into synergy. So now I'm in your body and you're in my body and we can feel that energy. So I'd be now feeling what you're feeling. So I could know if you weren't actually hypnotized. Right? So that's one of my really cool gifts. And I can feel things. So like even yesterday I was on a client call. She had this weird pain on her left. Well, I had this weird pain on my left side. It was stabbing. I was like, okay, we're getting something on your left side. Like put your hands on, we're over Zoom first off. So I'm like, put your hands on your left side, whatever. We ended out actualizing this release of something really big for her. But I would have never been able to assess that if I didn't have this gift where I could feel it. But I would get someone into a theta state, which basically just means like you're relaxed, you're almost asleep, you get into that zone. Then I'd have you do some drishti focuses to get your eyes back. And I'd be talking to you the whole time, getting you in. I'd be using hypnotic language to get you into that state.
And how long does that take?
Like a minute. For me, it takes like a minute for my clients to get it.
Have you ever not been able to hypnotize someone because they're resisting?
Never. Because I'm not a hypnotist like those people.
Oh, okay.
Say I was doing it on a stage, probably there's someone that would be like, I don't believe in this, I'm not going to get hypnotized. But all my clients are like, I'm paying you $1,000 for this hour. Like,
yeah, I'm getting hypnotized.
I think also too, like when you, because hypnotizing somebody, I also assume you also have to understand the body and you also have to know the little cues. So for example, that book that I was reading actually started introducing me to hypnotism from the first chapter. Started with a little chime. You hear the chime, that means it's time to pay attention. And then it teaches you the breathing. And as you keep going through the steps, the chimes change. The further you go, the more complicated the chimes get. So it would actually take me into deeper trances the further I went, to which there's something with humans and frequencies.
Dude, I started falling asleep.
Yeah.
Joe's a very anxious person.
Yeah.
And like going to sleep, sometimes we're like not able to fall asleep.
Yeah.
So we put on that like frequency music where it's like 4 chords that keep playing. I I pass out so fast. I sleep like we've been turned. Joe hates anything at night, but with her, she's like, can you put on that music again? We fall asleep
It
immediately.
works. The frequency.
You gotta share it with me because I'm a terrible sleeper. Terrible sleeper. I wake up probably, and I'm not even over exaggerating, 8 to 12 times a night.
Oh, really?
So more than once an hour.
Yeah, I'm a terrible sleeper.
Oh, see, I would fix that. That needs to be fixed. That needs to be fixed for you to perform.
What causes it?
Mostly like body discomfort, and I don't know, maybe being on my phone before bed, probably, right? I know that that's a bad habit.
That's a big one. And there's so many reasons as to why, but it's...
I got 1,000,001 things in my head.
Yeah. How do you feel about natural supplements for, like we were talking about, the ADHD?
What's a natural supplement for that?
So, for example, I use this product. It's called Magic Mind. It's ashwagandha.
I heard Magic Mike, and then that's what I was
That's my favorite show. I watch it before bed every night. I'm ready to let my fantasies
I use this Magic
continue in
Mike.
my dreams.
Anywho.
I never watched Magic Mike. That's what it is. But it's Magic Mind.
Okay.
So it's got like lion's mane, ashwagandha root.
That's amazing.
Like turmeric, and just a whole bunch of other different concoctions. But for me,
That seems amazing.
yeah, my ADHD, I don't know even if that's what it is, but I felt like sometimes my mind would race so much that I almost feel like I had like different personalities. Don't ask. Okay? So what I found was when I took this, it slows down my mind and I'm more precise. I'm able to control, hush things. So I'm really able to focus really well. So I find, for example, when I take it, I'm not on my phone because I understand that like my phone can really distract me. That also along with me reading various books like The Power of One More, which teaches you how to slow down time in a day. Rather than thinking about a day as one day, I think you'd split your days up into 3. So you actually have 3 days in one. So my day actually starts when I get up at 5 a.m. and that goes up until like 12, then 12 to 6, then 6 to...
But speaking about not having enough sleep, this motherfucker does not sleep. He goes to sleep.
When I hear 5 a.m., people go, 5 a.m. club's the only way to be successful. I'm like, not in my paradigm. I woke up for one sunrise, though, and it was so nice in Australia. I was like, I'm going to get up for the sunrise. And I was like, this was worth it.
And then you went back to bed?
No, I was up for that day, but I was like, that was a one time.
But what, you go to sleep at 10 and then get up at 3, right?
Yeah.
So that's not enough sleep.
Why do you get up at 3?
To go to the gym.
Why?
3?
It's
3 a.m. People are like...
Well, because my trainer...
I went to bed at 3 yesterday.
He's a...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. People go to bed at that hour.
He's a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So he's like so strict on his... Shout out to Josh.
So it's a 4 a.m.
That's pretty cool.
start with him?
Yes. Yeah. So he actually wants to work out at 5, but I have to get up that early in order to meet him there because he's very much like, and like he hates when I'm late. You know what I mean?
And you know what? Primally, that's probably a really good time based on our ancestors.
Yeah.
I just choose to sleep in, but I bet that is like the best time normally to work out.
And like, I'm not going to lie, like it's tough. It's not enjoyable.
No.
It's not.
But it's that discipline that you spoke of.
This is why I work so hard because I want to get to a point to where I don't have to go to sleep. Like I have enough time or I'm successful enough to where I can sleep from 7 all the way up till 4. You know what I mean? But how life is right now, I can't do that yet. But I will be there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'll be even more grateful of that time when I do get there. Yes. Because I know what it took to get to this point. And that's why I always say, like, he gave me this gift. I didn't know how much of a gift working out was because, like, it says, like, discipline is, like, the highest form of self-love. So I didn't know I had it in me to get up at 5 a.m.
I love that. You should say that again to the camera. Discipline is the highest form of self-love because it's like you're proving to yourself that you're worth it. You're like, I believe in myself and I'm going to do this. I'm not going to... When you think of, like, we've used the topic of just scrolling on your phone, like, that is such a self-deprecating behavior. It's not self-love. So if you're doing something that's life-giving and gives you aliveness and gives you life, like working out and waking up with the sun or having these conversations or whatever, it's like, this gives me life because I'm worthy of life, period. Mm-hmm. I'm worthy to make more money. I'm worthy to serve more people. I'm worthy to be on stages. I'm worthy to go and do every weekend mobile bars, like whatever it is. Like it's so self-loving to be disciplined, to continue that.
It really is.
I have a question for you. You talked about how you have a skill to manifest, and you manifested kind of our interaction, kind of where we're at today.
Yeah.
What are you manifesting right now? What's the next thing that's coming to fruition?
That's a great question. That's a really good question. What I've been manifesting is my number's disgusting, and I tell this to people all the time. It's to the point to where when people ask like, "Oh, what's your number that you want to retire to?" Like, I just straight up like tell people my number's really big, and I feel comfortable with it. But I know sometimes when I say my number, like I was signing up for life insurance. Never thought I'd be doing that. And the buddy says to me, he's like, "When do you want to retire?" I said 45. And I can see him kind of almost like have this grin where he's like, motherfucker, do you know how many people retire at 45? Let's just put it down as 65. And you might think that, but I don't. Because I've shifted things so much now that I know where I'm going. I know I'm gonna get there. And I get goosebumps even saying it. Starting with being with you guys. It started there. It just started bringing myself around people that I never thought I'd be in the same room with. It's funny, the one time we were at the first podcast before you came in, we were interviewing with this property management lady, and Joe goes, you started off being like troublemaker, and now you're in a boardroom meeting with white people. And I'm like, you fucking right I am. So like, the one thing that I will say, what I've been focused on actually is I've taken a step back with the money because I know I'm going to be rich. So I know I'm going to get the money. What I've actually been focusing more is being a better dad and being a better big brother. One of my notes that I put into my book is that I'm going to be the pillar of my family. So that means that I have to grow as a person in order to be who I am. My namesake, my grandfather was a prime minister of my country. So I have really big shoes to fill, but I'm confident that I'm gonna get there because for me, my final goal, my dream is when I go back to Zambia to take them to this amazing resort. You guys would never even believe it's in Africa because it's the most beautiful thing. Picture that gold, all the gold stuff that's in here, but it's real gold, and there's facts on the gold of where it came from. But it was to the point when I came in there with my uncle, they're looking at me like, what the fuck are these guys doing up in here? Because it was all white people, right? And they're forgetting that they're in Africa. This is my country. But my goal is to come in there with my whole family and let's fuck up this place. Let's make them all look at us like, what? That's my dream, And it's not in a sense where I want to spend money, but it's giving my whole family that experience. And that's when, to me, I feel like I've done my part, So, yeah.
It's so important to have that final destination vision and be able to hold that as every successful person says, they just have that knowing. If you know, I'm going to live this reality, it's happening, your only job is to just hold that and know that. And every night before bed, think about it. Go in there, walking in or private jet, whatever it's looking like, and just manifesting and creating that and feeling into that. And some would say, oh, but what if it doesn't happen? It's who cares? I spent 30 years feeling good before bed every night. Whatever. That's, you know what I mean? But it will happen. I can tell you that's a done fucking deal for you. But the fact that you have that vision is so key. I feel like I certainly have quite a few people I've worked with that don't even have a vision. They don't know what they want. Yeah. And that's the first thing we get to is, well, what matters to you? And that is such a beautiful vision that you're creating. I can't wait for this. This is happening soon.
Yes.
It's happening soon, and you can start to get the vibe of I'm going to be this energy, right? Yes. You kind of go, oh, it's happening soon because I'm going to be this young. When you see yourself, you're yeah, I'm not an old man. I'm this young, lively man. So of course it's going to happen. Yeah.
It's always crazy, even when you look back, because you're I used to see him all the time and ask him, when did we meet?
Damn. A long time ago.
Right? And it's so long ago. I don't remember, but we would just see each other He'd be like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? And it was just this kind of bro thing that we had.
I always liked you. And I didn't even know you that well.
But I'm like, we'd hang out and stuff, and then it just somehow just kind of became something. Same with him. I'd see him in the court, and he'd be like, what's up? I'd be talking shit, and he'd be like, yeah, all right, come, let's play ball for real. Like, and you know what I mean? We play, and it just kind of was this thing, and then we bumped into each other later on, and it's like, hey, let's do this idea. Let's make it happen. He took a chance. We did a gig together. It went well, but I don't know.
There's definitely something divine about the three of you coming together and like what. So there's like always chords, right? And threads that are being connected, right? And it's like some would say God's plan. I would say God's plan or the universe's plan or divine intervention. And it's like, you don't know, like you're kind of like, how are we even in each other's lives? This doesn't even make sense. But it's like, this was all by design. And yes, you made conscious decisions to put yourself in the position where it added up. But like that was all by design. And you're all in this room together, creating week after week together in this way of positivity and uplifting and personal development and spirituality. And the ways that you're doing it, it's leading to something really big. And your individual desires, they're all going to be manifested when you're really focusing in on like the cohesion of the congruence of what it is that you three want together.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm excited for you guys.
This turned into a mentor session.
You guys, it's destined.
But I think
done.
from like to tie this all back to kind of entrepreneurship and you know, what is some of the keys to success? Your manifestation is obviously important, but I think we've sometimes focused too much on getting there very quickly.
Yes.
And what I have at least found from experience is it's those daily incremental gains. Yeah. It's just saying, listen, I'm going to do one thing today that's going to put me a little bit ahead. And if you do that for 30 days straight and then 90 days straight. And
what
then
would be something, give me an example of your incremental daily thing.
Being consistent with your posting on Instagram.
Okay. That's something you would consider as
that's an incremental gain because that doesn't sound like it's hard to do, but if you're not creative, you may be like, I don't really have anything to post today, so I'm not really gonna post it. But sometimes it's important, depending on what your strategy is, to just be in front of the client base and to, you know, post something or put yourself out of your comfort zone and record a video of yourself talking and build that connection with your client base. And sometimes you just let like other things get in the way, and then your social media presence then suffers for it. So that to me would be an incremental gain, right? Where you're doing something every day to work on your brand or on your business. So that's one thing, but like for me, it could be something as simplistic as I haven't logged in onto my website and made sure it's up to date in a while. So I'm going to do that today, and I'm going to make a couple of tweaks. Yes. So that was a very small incremental gain, but I could have made the decision not to do that. I could have made a decision to do something else, right? So those little things kind of add up over time. And if you do 365 of them and you look back to 365 days before, you're going to see that difference that it made, right? So.
And it's so rewarding. And the thing that I do that when I tell people I do this, they go, oh my God, I'm going to do that. And I'm like, oh, I think it's just such a normal thing. But I use my calendar on my phone like a diary almost. So like if something's going on emotionally, like last week I had some stress come up with the appointments that I had for my health because I feel amazing and everything. But then when you go back in, you're talking to various doctors about what happened. It kind of is like, oh, am I okay? Like, I thought this was just a spiritual thing, but now I'm getting freaked out, right? So I made notes in my phone like stressful day, feeling overwhelmed, trusting in God's plan, trusting in something bigger, and just grateful and whatever. So it's like my calendar's got like, you know, podcast interview with the Industry Night podcast and other things that I was feeling that day. And I've been doing this for probably almost 4 years.
So what you do it as like an all-day calendar event, and then you put the notes and stuff?
I just like add it in. I don't specifically put all-day calendar. It could be at like 4 p.m. It's just whatever. It's just so what I do is like, so today is what's the date today? The 17th of April?
I think so.
It's April 17th. Yes. So it's April 17th. Say it was one of those nights where I'm feeling like reflective, which is usually once or twice a week that I'm really like, Haley, check in on how far you've come. Really celebrate yourself. Like because I have more of the syndrome of next, more. I have to consciously be like, wow, look at everything you've done. Like you turn 30 next month and look at everything you've created, or you just started this with the last year and look how it's going. Like I really have to check in with myself to celebrate myself, because celebration is like, seriously, it's like a formula for more and more and more. So I have this practice. So let's say I look back, what was I doing on April 17th of 2023? Oh, interesting. That's what I was doing. What was I doing on April 2022? And I keep looking back. What was it? 6 months ago? Where was I? Mm-hmm. And I look at things, and even if I wasn't very good that day of putting like my emotional state, I could maybe see like, oh, I had a call with this client, or I had something that was on the calendar. Mm-hmm. And I can instantly go, I remember that day, and I remember that feeling. And now I see how far I've come. And I'm so proud of myself. Yeah. So maybe that's revolutionary to you guys. I didn't think it was revolutionary, but everyone I tell people, they're like, I'm going to do that.
I just read that just the other day, and I it's funny to hear you say it. Is almost like all the more why I feel like I should do it, because it's the power of one more. And it said that, high-performing people take inventory of how they're feeling. It's important to take inventory of how you feel, just the same way how you would take inventory of, like, how you performed in a workout, or what you did, It's good to kind of gauge that, because like you said, how that breakdown is where you get to know how you feel. It shows you how much you've grown as a person when it comes to managing your emotions or how you deal with situations, because we're always growing, right? To say if you're not trying to get better or trying to grow, then you're that's when you're dying.
100%. Yeah. One of the things in the chapter of being unfuckwithable that I write about is like, I write this list of, this is happening and I'm still unfuckwithable. This is happening and I'm still unfuckwithable, whatever. That never felt true for me until I actually lived it. And now it's even different. I'm like, I can't wait to write my next book because of what happened the last month. But like, it's so I'm always creating beliefs that support my highest self, right? Just like if I'm going to take things from different religions that support what I already know to feel true and be true in my body. Like when you said, oh, what do you think about supplements? If I believed a supplement was amazing for me, I'd fucking take it every day and be like, this is so good. This is so good, right? So it's like that concept. For me, when I'm able to take inventory and go, oh, I wrote down last Wednesday. So literally last Wednesday, I had a really stressful day because I'm at this appointment. My parents come because they think it's going to be serious. Mitch is at work. And I was just going to go alone, but it's this whole thing. So like the reality of the duality and the polarity of what's going on that day. I'm at this appointment. It's pretty stressful, even though there's a lot of unknowns. And then I'm like sitting outside, I'm like praying. Then we go for brunch and it's all good. And then I go home and I get a call. I can't actually say all this, but I can't give all the details, but I get a phone call from someone and they have this crazy opportunity for me that I swear to God, I could have never manifested consciously. Like I could have never been like, oh, I would love that to happen. That would be a really cool opportunity. And I'm like, what the fuck? This happened like an hour after I got home from this appointment. So back to the being unfuckwithable. When I create inventory in my notes of this really shitty morning happened and I'm still a match for magic and miracles and success and prosperity and beautiful things, I start to create a belief system of like, I'm always available to receive. I'm always a match. I'm always magnetic. I'm always powerful. Like circumstances don't fuck with me because I am powerful, period. I couldn't fully truly believe that if I didn't have like this ongoing calendar of like, this hard thing happened and then this happened. And then, oh, I was feeling really high vibe and good this day. Great. That feels good. But you know what? Do
the same way you look back at your book and you read it and you
remember
it's like,
certain things. So it's like it's just fun to kind of look and then you eventually prove to yourself it's all in divine plan. Yeah. Like no matter what I do, it's perfect.
So you believe in divine intervention?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So where does
that make me agnostic? Am I no longer part of the party?
No, I don't know. It's just interesting because then what role do you feel free will plays?
It's funny you say the word free will. I was having a conversation about this with someone the other day. So
if everything is preordained, then everything is preordained, right? Yeah. Right. Then like what do your choices have anything to do with anything? Because you already have a predestined place that you're going, right?
So here's the way I kind of understand it in my own life. My first chunk of my life before the collapse a month ago was all free will. It was very much like I'm making these amazing decisions. I'm being in these rooms. I'm having these conversations. These opportunities are landing. Okay? Gets me to the results that I have, which are awesome. But the divine plan is like way bigger. After that, and when this happens to me and I'm like thrown to the ground in this way and I'm like, whoa, and then I'm like, wow, I'm literally just like a little molecule and like can get put down like this. It humbled me in a way because I had like larger than life power of like nothing, like I am the center of the world and like I am powerful. I'm the creator. So I didn't need to empower that in myself. I already was that. I wrote the book on that for the people that don't know how powerful they are. I knew how powerful I was. And it's like, what happened to me showed me that there is also a power that is holding me in divine intervention and doing things that like you can get in kind of a battle with yourself of like, because there are still limits if you're consciously free willing everything. If you're free willing your life, that's unreal, but there's a cap to it. The infinite realm leaves room for divine intervention. The infinite realm leaves room for magic. And I would done that many times in my life. And there's many things that have happened in my life before the collapse that I would be like, oh, that was by divine intervention. Like even meeting Andrea, we talked about how I worked for Anfit. That propelled me into an industry that really supported who I am and where I am now in my life. She just was a guest speaker in my one class, the same class that I now guest speak at every single year, multiple times a year. And I was like, I remember this day too, because I always went to class, but I was really hungover this day. I remember I was like thinking about not going. I was like, I don't think I'm going to go to class. But I did. And I was like sitting there and I was like, oh, I'm vibing with her. And then like after the class, I was just like, hey, like, let's chat. And she was like, yep, come by the studio. I come by the studio. She's like, okay, you're hired. That was like how it happened. To me, that's divine intervention. Even though I free will consciously was like, I'm going to class. Right? I made these decisions. I'm going to talk to her after class. I'm going to tell her I'm a personal trainer. I went to college for 2 years before I came to Clinical Kin. Like I'm older than these kids. Like I know what I'm doing. I've run a personal training company. Like let's go. That was all free will, but the divinity of her being right there, that's by design, by divine intervention. So, it's like a balance.
Like the pod, it was similar to what she's saying. He just randomly called me one time. He's like, I got a customer. Let's go down together. We went, we checked that person out, and we were like, okay, it wasn't the greatest experience, but we really bonded on that trip. Me and him, we set up to start doing the podcast, and I kept on hammering to him, you should meet this guy. You should meet this guy. And he's like, because I know he's the kind of guy where like, he's very like, he's driven and he's got a goal. So I think you'd have to prove to him that this guy that I'm bringing to him is really,
Can add value.
Exactly.
Yes.
But the divine intervention was their bond. And it's funny, when they met, he said something to check him out. He's like, what are you about? He's like, well, this is what I'm about.
You introduced Paul and Joel.
Yes, yeah.
Got it.
And he's sitting there sizing him up, and he's like, fuck, I think this guy's really like, he knows what he's talking about, And it was amazing to watch them just kind of bond like this and be like, okay, you're legit, I'm legit, let's do this. And I can't take credit for that.
It didn't take long.
No, it didn't.
Like,
and I
real recognizes real pretty quick.
That's to me is like the divine intervention. Yeah.
So if you guys are interested in like the brain, I can give you a brain example that would help you understand. So say your brain is your whole life. The frontal part is your executive control, where you're consciously free will. Let's just say free will, conscious decision making. I'm getting up at 4 a.m. I'm going to the gym. Mm-hmm. Getting up at 4 a.m. I'm going to the gym. More midbrain is like sensory, and then the back is more primal survival, just to dumb it down for everyone's sake, including my own. This whole area is where there's more of like oneness. If you guys are aware of what oneness means, like we are the trees, we are the air, like we are all connected. Like no one's on a pedestal. We're all of the same earth. Okay. That's where that more comes in. And there's more fear and there's like survival, like where we could die, whatever. So the sensory and back is like divine intervention. Sensory and back is like muscle memory. Sensory and back is like, I'm in my flow, I'm in my vibe. I'm not planning, I'm not like, how we were like, yeah, we don't know what we're going to talk about tonight. It's just going to happen. Imagine we were in executive control and we're like, okay, now we're going to talk about this. Now we're going to talk about this. We'd be so limited. The divinity couldn't land because we'd be in our executive control, which has parameters. It's based on what you've actually consciously researched in your life. Some memory is here as well, right? It's like, I know these things. I've done these things. My brain knows these things. Sensory and beyond is like magic, magic energy, right? So if you think of your brain as your whole life, imagine you live your whole life in that free will mode and you just go, I've got a plan and I'm going to now do this and then this is going to happen and this outcome and this and that's great. That is awesome. And I think everyone needs to have that foundation in their life, right? We talked about foundations and strategy in your business. You need to have that foundation, but you eventually get to a point where you're like, okay, God, angels, universe, it's time for you to fucking step in because I've shown you that I've done this. Like for me, that was my like, I was talking with someone yesterday. Oh yeah, a client. She was like, I had my come home to Jesus moment. And I was like, yes, everyone has to like come to Jesus moment or whatever you want to call it, where you're like, I've fucking shown you. Like for me, it was like for 2.5 years, I've done these things. And yes, I've changed thousands of lives and I'm so grateful, but like, I want fucking more. I came to that point 2 weeks before my collapse. Okay. I was like, I want more. I was literally down at like, I had an event that night, a sold out event, but it was just like, this is a small event. And I was in this energy of like, it's not enough. It's not enough. Even though it was a sold out event, it was a small venue. So I'm like, I'm going down to the lake. I was in Goderich. I go down to the lake and I'm like, God, I like need a miracle. Like I don't feel fulfilled fully. And yet I'm living what most people would call a dream life. But I know I'm ready for more. Yeah. I instantly got upgraded with like a shift has occurred. And I felt it. And I was like, okay. And then I started feeling really grateful and slower and like in that energy. And then amazing things were happening. And then literally 2 weeks after that day, I collapsed. And that's when things really got better on a whole nother level. Even though it was like a horrible experience to be on the floor and have the ambulance. Like it was horrible. But it was also really awesome spiritually. But my free will had nothing to do with that. Some would say, oh, but maybe your free will did because every day you were overworking and never taking vacations and always doing the things to lead your body to be like, we're done. Okay. And I know I'm going to the spa once a week. Like I'm still fucking taking care of myself. I'm sleeping 11 hours a night. Like I'm still doing a lot for myself. People live their whole lives in that way and don't get put down in that way. So it's like, I know that was a divine intervention. And then you think of the brain, so when people are do you know what a flow state is? Yes. When you look at like an athlete and they're like moving, like you guys talking about basketball.
When I'm driving a car and I don't even realize I drove home. You're just
Steph Curry or Paul driving home half asleep. But it's like that.
That's scary when that happens.
It is crazy, right? But that's not your executive control. That is your like the sensory and the primal brain just like taking over. So when you realize it like that and you realize that the flow state and the higher performance where there's more, if someone were to look under like a x-ray of your brain, more would be happening. Like if someone's brain's not working, there's nothing going on. Mm-hmm. When brains are doing really well, it's like all that's going on. When someone's operating from sensory and back, it's much more alive than when someone's like, here's what I'm doing. So you want to live life in a more flow state because it's like God's plan is bigger.
Well, I think what's the stat? And I don't know what the stat is. You probably be able to tell us. Like we only use like a very small percentage of our brain.
I don't know the stat, but I know that we do use most humans, not us.
Yeah, most humans use a very small. Well, maybe you're tapping into way more than we are for sure. But I think it's like something like 10% of your brain is actually all we use.
Well, it's funny you say that too, and this is where the universe is interesting. Mitch and I were on a walk last night, and he was talking about how Elon Musk, I guess, wants to do these chips in people's brains. Neuralink. Yeah, which I had never heard of because, again, I don't watch the news. And I was like, does he? And Mitch was like, yeah, and like whatever to like help because it's never good enough for him and he wants people's brains to perform better. And I was like, oh, well, you can just access that without a chip. You don't need to artificially put that into your brain. Like it's very easy to access all the power of your own brain. Anyways, and Mitch was like, yeah, but like not the average person would do that. I'm like, well, then they don't need to. They're not meant to. Like not everyone is meant in this lifetime to have that type of reality, right?
Do you hypnotize your husband?
We're not married yet. I should hypnotize him into proposing.
We're going to cut a clip and send it directly to him from this conversation.
No, I don't hypnotize him. He is so grounded. He's such an incredible grounded human. We've been together for 12 years. We've been through everything, you know, like as you and your wife have been together for 16, right? Long, beautiful time. So we were best friends, lovers.
Good adjective to use.
Long, beautiful. But yeah, so I don't hypnotize him. He's definitely like, he's someone who's been with me on my whole journey. So like, he definitely needed to like see, like he still doesn't really understand what I do. Like I said, he was like, hey, use small words, like, you know, make sure you don't scare them with your big words. But he doesn't fully understand it, but he knows me and he believes in me. And he's just like, he knows no one's like me. Like he gets that and he understands that. So even like, I don't think he's ever read my book. I don't think he's ever listened to a podcast episode of mine. Like he's not my client. He's my life partner. He's my soulmate. Like he doesn't get it. He would never be like, Haley, can you hypnotize me?
No, but that's great to hear. And I think that makes you real.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That makes you not look like a fake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right? Because like some people would expect you to say, oh yeah, my partner and I go on long walks and we talk about somatic, all that kind of stuff. But like
talk about he's my lover. Like he's my life partner. I'm not always like, even with you guys, like it's just like we connect over so many things that my work is my work. At the end of the day, it's like, it's still my job. Like I don't want to talk about it all the time. Like I want to, like last night I'm like, let's watch, like I just watch a funny movie. Like I'm eating chocolate watching a movie. like literally, like I just want to.
So you're human.
I'm human.
oh wow, she is human.
I'm human.
Yeah, there you go.
No, it's nice to have, and he's so grounded. Like it's good to have a grounding person. And are we low on time?
Yes. We have to fucking wrap it up.
Any final questions?
If you had to choose a different career, what would it be?
Ooh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay, I have it.
Okay.
Yeah, very nice.
It's gonna be surprising. It's scary to say. I'm having imposter syndrome saying it, but I would want to be like a cowgirl who like works with horses.
Okay.
Straight up. Like that would be my career.
Why?
And like very
Why?
good at it. I'm obsessed with horses.
So why not go and like move to like Calgary or something?
Well, it's funny because just January I just started getting back with working with horses and working them, training them, riding them. I just started back. Yeah. So I've been doing it again, and it's going to become part of more, it's like a hobby, but if I wasn't so passionate about this, I'd be like full-time doing that.
The feeling they give you when you're around them, eh? It's just, there's a feeling that you can't explain. It just...
They're so tapped in.
Yeah. I learned how to ride.
Yay!
Since when?
So what?
This guy's read every book that we've made reference to tonight. He rides horses.
I'll tell you how it happened. It was a summer where I was being a really bad kid. And I remember my parents were like,
"You're gonna ride a fucking horse."
It was the summer. I think it was the summer after, and they were like, we're going to Wonderland. You know, we're gonna hotel, pack our bags, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Yes, let's get it, let's go."
Yo, and they dropped you off at the farm.
Bag.
No way.
They brought me to this camp called Circle Square Ranch. It's like a Christian camp. Oh my God. I got sent there to like volunteer, and I was there the whole fucking summer. I didn't even have to do school hours.
And you thought you were going to Disney?
Yeah, and I thought I was going to Wonderland, and I was there like, I'm talking like I was the janitor, and like I was pissed at first while I was there, but then I really started to like get to know some of the staff, and they're like, hey, like, you know what? Take part in some of these other things, and along with the ride came like learning how to like ride horses and stuff like that. But it was really fun.
It's a cool freaking
Yeah, it really
experience.
is. Yeah.
Okay, I want to hear what your guys' is. Dream. If you're not doing what you're doing, what else would it be? And it's not even like dream career. Of course you could do it. You've already created your dream career. But if it wasn't this, well, what else would it be? You have to go.
Yeah, Paul, go.
You asked the question.
I mean, can it be something I used to do that I know? I mean, because I used to DJ, so I mean that would be if I were to pursue that harder or longer, maybe I'd probably go back to that or want to do that for sure.
Oh, I love that. Well, you definitely can do it. More of it.
Yeah.
Infuse it in like a hobby, like me with the horses.
I still do once in a while.
There
it's
you
just
go.
something, like
I love that.
whatever I found in different path.
Cowgirl DJ, Joel.
I'm curious. I don't know mine yet.
I always wanted to make a difference and be a politician, but like high level. But then I became disenfranchised with the little difference you actually make, because you actually only make a difference if you're like a big corporation, at least in North America. So I don't know that I would still want to do that because it's so corrupt.
Yes.
I guess I would want to do it with the intention of trying to change the system.
What would you change about it?
The how corrupt it is. So like I don't think, especially in the US system.
So you'd create a revolution. So the whole system has to get rebuilt.
I think we can just start this revolution.
Yeah, I don't think
You can lead it.
I don't think that big business should be able to lobby, like pay lobbying.
I don't think they can in Canada.
No, but in the US they
In the
can,
US they
and
can, yeah.
a lot of US policy impacts Canada, right? So like even think of what's going on with inflation right now. The Bank of Canada's interest rate decisions are so heavily leaning on what the Federal Reserve is doing in the US, right? So everything is interconnected. So yeah, that's mine.
Wow.
Not anything exciting.
Well, we either need to completely release the old paradigm of the politics and just create something new, or we need someone really fucking good to come in. So maybe it's you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would take more than one man theory. Like, I don't think there's no hero that'll be able to change it. It would need to be something where everyone agrees.
Everyone does need, we might have to have a whole nother podcast episode on this, but everyone does need to come together on this because we all know.
But Canada doesn't know how to protest properly. Like we just fucking bend over and take it. That's the issue, right? Like it's not like in the old days where like you'd like be like, no, this is like ridiculous. We're paying fucking 60% in taxes and like where is it going, right? Yeah. You'd revolt. Like
I certainly ask myself every tax season, do I really need to pay my tax? Like is this? And then I'm like, I don't think I do.
No, you do. I mean, you're gonna go to jail.
Well, that's the thing. I know. And then it's like,
if no
that's
one
what Mitch
does.
says. That exactly.
Collective. We have to.
Mitch
come
is always like,
together.
no, you do, or like you get in trouble. And I'm just like, but what if we all do?
Yeah, if we all don't pay our taxes.
Okay, let's do it.
That's how we break the system.
Or let's just move to a tax haven like the Bahamas.
That'd be nice too.
Nicer weather too.
That'd be
Okay,
nice
so
too.
we've got a cowgirl, a DJ, a politician.
Can I change my?
I would probably.
I want to change my. Everyone knows that I used to DJ. That's boring.
Yeah, we're kind of like, you already are a DJ.
Yeah, you still DJ actually.
I'd be a pilot.
A pilot.
Pilot would be
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
Like a helicopter.
And we
pilot.
need a pilot to get the politician and the cowgirl to where they need to
Exactly.
go. Okay?
Collectivity again.
Drop me in Colorado. Drop you at wherever the hell politicians go.
All right, well now we need someone to carry the bags too.
I would. I would probably be like a home builder or a mechanic.
No, that's a good job.
Ooh.
Yeah, cause
Actually, architect would be sick.
yeah, just cause like I love it. Like I watch that stuff so much on like YouTube, watching these home builders. I really like watching like people that like build stuff on their own, whether it's like a Sprinter van and they turn
What's
it
the
into a
most
nice.
complicated thing you've built?
That's a very good question. I'm like a MacGyver, yo. I used to watch that show back in Zambia, but I don't know. I guess a computer maybe.
Oh, you built a computer?
Yeah, because my dad was software like this is when like computers really hit. So back in my country, he would be like the head of IT for the largest bank. So he started teaching me a lot about like computer code and like all kinds of stuff like that. So like we just built a computer and just kind of I learned how to do it with him, and it was just a good
So
experience.
could you like still build a computer today?
I want to say yeah, but I'd have to YouTube University.
Hey, what's up?
I couldn't do it without YouTube University, but I still have like the basics, I guess.
I don't like building anything.
You know what? Like after a while it goes away because then after a while, like between me and my dad, it just became an unenjoyable experience because he's a perfectionist. So I was like, I don't want to do
I'm the type of person that I'd much rather just pay for someone to do it because if I try to do it myself, I'm probably going to like fuck it up and then have to pay twice to do it.
But cars and houses are so different because after you're done, you're like, I did this. You know what I mean?
And you know what? You probably, with your retiring at 45 and stuff, like you could, well before that, you build your own dream house. Like you can still have people doing the hard work and you can just be like, da, da, da.
Yeah. Like one of the things I really want to like feel of my own, I want to build a really fast car. And I want to get, I love that feeling when you, and
oh my God, well, some F1 teams need your help. They need your help. They need a good engineer.
Who does?
Well, someone needs to be Red Bull.
Yes.
Right? Like you gotta.
I was like, yo, you can come over. We can build a go-kart in my garage. You're like, dream big. Formula One racing.
Straight to Formula. Well, they need help.
Yeah.
Because like there is a huge gap.
Yeah.
So it's an engineering thing.
Yeah.
It's not a driver thing.
Yeah. One of the cool things in Zambia that you'd see, like if you ever get to travel there, kids.
You're going to take us when you're 45 and rich?
Yeah, what do you mean when we go? We're coming with you.
Exposed. One of the cool things you'll find there is like...
You just fuck with the white people there and be like, these guys are my servants.
They're with me.
I'll put on the whole fit.
We'll both put on like some kind of like gown and...
So like, you know, coat hangers? Like kids back home like are so good like at like architecture, I guess. They make race cars out of coat hangers. So they build them, right? And then the steering wheel is way up here. So there's like a straight line with the coat rack, and they've maneuvered it to where when you turn the rack like this, it's an actual RC car without being RC because it's made out of metal with the coat hangers, but it's really cool. I should find a picture and show you guys, but
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we should wrap things up.
Yes, we should.
That was a good question, though. I don't even want to know the old one.
Yeah. So you're cut.
Yeah, it's a great podcast.
You did great. You were amazing
awesome.
today.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
awesome having you.
I love all you guys. And
We could probably talk for
forever.
yeah, I'm like, holy
we got to
shit,
do a photo op. We can't forget to do that.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Are we signing off?
Thank you
Who's signing us
everyone
off?
for watching.
Yes, thank you.
Love you
We're signing
all.
off.
Bye.
Bye.